Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey on the Danbury Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Zach McGinnis, and joining us later in the broadcast booth will be Jack Elmira as the Danbury Hat Tricks look to continue what has been the hottest streak in the history of Danbury hockey. After an 11-game win streak was snapped by the Mentor Icebreakers on Thursday night, the Hat Tricks rebounded in style last night with a key 5-4 victory over these same Elmira Enforcers that they will be playing here tonight on home ice to complete the home and home. Zach, it has been an eventful, really couple months for Danbury hockey, riding this streak, setting a city record for professional hockey for longest win streak, and now they find themselves in a position where they have to rebound after a loss, and sometimes that's the toughest part of win streaks, not so much keeping it going, but rebounding after it finishes.
You're right. You're right, Casey. It's the bounce back that you need to work on. You win 11 games in a row. I mean, again, as you mentioned, historical in this town, but you drop that 6-5 decision to the Mentor Icebreakers, and really, when they lost that game, they essentially had 12 skaters. They had 13 listed on the roster. Head coach Billy McCreary donning a uniform for the first time in a couple seasons, but when you only have two lines and really two guys after that, it's tough to win a professional hockey game. I like the response that the Danbury Hat Tricks had yesterday in Elmira. They've now taken 4 of 5 decisions against the Elmira Enforcers. And talking about bounce backs, Elmira tied that game with under 5 minutes to play home or since the opening weekend. It's going to be a great game, Casey.
And you mentioned the turnover in the rosters for the Danbury Hat Tricks and really for the Elmira Enforcers, who will be without some key players tonight. Cameron Yarwood out of the lineup, Ahmed Mahfouz out of the lineup. But for the Danbury Hat Tricks in particular, they've got some fresh faces coming in. Tim Hanlon dressed, ready to go for the Danbury Hat Tricks, making his home debut for this team. And also starting between the pipes for the first time since the beginning of November, Nick Nieder. And for a veteran like Nieder, who knows how things go in hockey, the ebbs and flows, when you get your time, when you don't get your time, I expect the seasoned goaltender to really want to seize this opportunity to earn some ice time back.
Absolutely right. Nick Nieder, as you mentioned, he's a veteran. I remember speaking with head coach Phil Esposito back in the days of the Whalers and the Danbury Titans. And the thing that he always said about Nick Nieder, this is a guy who will steal a game for you. Nieder's going to come into this game, again, not playing in a while. He comes in with a record of 1 loss, 1 overtime loss. But this is an Elmira team that Nieder played for last year, where he put up a record of 8-1. He's going to want, and he recognizes the teams on the guys on the other side of the ice. He's going to want to make a statement himself, show that he can still be depended on by head coach Bill McCreary and this team. Tom McGuckin, what a run that he put together. He was a big part of that 11-game winning streak. He got the decision in yesterday's game as well. Let's see what Nick Nieder can do in net tonight.
And Nick Nieder, that you mentioned, he hasn't gotten a win yet this season, but he did start the first game in Danbury Hat Tricks history, a game that he lost in overtime to the Port Huron Prowlers. It was an eventful game, and one in which the Nick Nieder was able to make some stellar saves. I always think back to that stack the pass Dominic Hasek save that he made. I mean, he's still got it.
Absolutely. You know, he's definitely on the more experienced side, but when it comes to a goaltender who can get things done, he's somebody who's still going to go all out. I trust him back there. His teammates trust him as well. You always talk and you always hear about guys who are great in the locker room. There's nobody better than Nick Nieder, and I'm looking forward to seeing him manning the net to our left once again.
There will be still some missing faces for the Danbury Hat Tricks, but first we have the playing of our national anthem. We'll turn you over to public address announcer Kieran Stack. Danbury Hat-Tricks taking on the Elmira Enforcers on the Danbury Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Zach McGinnis. Soon to join us, Jack O'Mara up in the booth. Starting lineup first for the visiting Elmira Enforcers. On the forward lines, they will have number 14, Willie Daigneault, alongside number 47, Kyle Stevens, and number 77, Brandon Tucker. On the blue line, they will have Glenn Patterson, number 91, alongside Gino Minnie, a former member of the Battle Creek Rumblebees, who was really able to escape the Battle Creek Rumblebees.
Yes.
He'll be wearing the number 23 in the black and green. And in goal for the Elmira Enforcers is Michael Stiliadis, who enters this game with 2 wins, no losses to his name yet, a 201 goals against average and 947 save percentage. As Stiliadis looking to build on what has been an early successful tenure with the Elmira Enforcers. Starting lineup for your Danbury Hat-Tricks. On defense, they will have number 44, Steve Brown, against number 77, along with number 77, Aaron Atwell. On the forward lines, they will have Vlad Gavrik on the right wing and Gordy Bennell on the left. Casper Dearson will be their center, and between the pipes as part of your Ameriprise Financial goaltender matchup, Nick Nieder, who, as mentioned before, enters the game with an 0-1-1 record, .831 save percentage, .548 goals against average. And those early numbers are not a true indicator of how solid that Nick played, and that is the cruelty of hockey, and especially in this league where it can be a very high-scoring affair, especially in that early weekend when both teams are trying to get their feet wet.
Well, both teams trying to get their feet wet, but also the Danbury Hat-Tricks, it's their first games in franchise history. This is a very different-looking team than we had just those few months ago against Port Huron. You know, you didn't have guys like Marty Tuma and Aaron Atwell on the blue line. You didn't have players like Carter Shinkarek, who, again, his back-checking, if there was a Selk trophy that was awarded in this league, he would be my favorite for it because he has played fantastic so far this year. So Nieder will get a new look in front of him. And, you know, the Danbury Hat-Tricks, a new look for them with their uniform choice tonight. It's the first time that they're wearing white at home.
That's true. We've seen the orange alternates. We've seen the home blacks for pretty much every home game except for the second game of the season. And this is the first time they're wearing their road whites. I wonder what the rationale is for Billy McCreary. Maybe it's just trying to keep a new streak going where you won last night on the road in your road whites and trying to build on the successes of last night.
I'm going to agree with you there. I hope that we don't have, a Port Huron situation where uniforms get left behind. I'm sure that's not what happened with Elmira, but it's a good-looking game, and it's about to get underway.
That's true. Oh, I think back. That must have been a nightmare for those broadcasters out in Danville.
Oh, yes.
I weep for them. As entering in is Dearson with a slap shot that goes wide, rattles around the glass, and finds its way onto the stick of the right winger, Daigneault, and he enters in on the right side, trying to center it over for Stevens. Has it whacked away from him by Steve Brown, and up the right wing comes Vlad Gavrik, entering in on the right side, has Patterson in front of him. Gavrik looks to the net. It's fought off by Stiliadis. Behind the end line it goes, flipped out to Steve Brown, who takes a swing at it. It hits off of the midsection of Vlad Gavrik and gets a groan from the crowd as that one didn't miss the net mouth by much.
No, it's not normally how you deflect a puck. Brown didn't quite get everything that he wanted on that shot, and the big body, 6'4" of Vlad Gavrik in front of the net nearly directed it in.
That's exactly who you want setting that screen in front. There's nobody better than the big body of Vlad Gavrik as one of the largest, if not for maybe Steve Brown, the largest player on this Danbury Hat-Tricks team, as there's Brown taking a swing at the puck, misses the initial chance, and then backhands it out to the far side point. As there's Cameron Yarwood, who initially it looked like he was not going to be in the lineup, but he is, in fact, in the lineup. We heard that he might be behind the bench as the Elmira Enforcers have been dealing with several injuries and absences for a myriad of reasons on their roster, as there's Steve Mealy controlling the puck in the far side corner, trying to spin away from Brendan Hussey, loses the handle on it, and Yarwood behind the end line corrals it.
And Casey, along that point, we spoke about how the Hat-Tricks, they've had their roster issues over the last few days. Elmira has certainly had the same. Robbie Nichols, at 55 years old, dressed yesterday.
55 years young, please.
55, either way. That sets a Federal Hockey League record for oldest player in league history.
Oh, it's got to set all kinds of records. Even Gordie Howe retired when he was 51, as that sharp-angled try from Tom Tracy gets fought off by Nick Nieder. Held in by Yarwood. He backhands it over to Dion, who takes a step in and fires it wide. Dale Dion, one of the more successful Elmira Enforcers player, comes in red hot. 4 assists already on the week in just 2 games, one against Delaware on Thursday and one against these hat tricks last night, as that one gets touched up by Marty Tuma, and that will go for an icing. As we welcome Jack Elmira to the broadcast booth. Jack, welcome. 2:05 into the first. And Jack, we were talking before about the intensity that the Elmira Enforcers will want to bring to this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a red-hot Danbury team. They haven't lost in this building in over 2 months, and they're a team that's finally finished that 11-game win streak. It's a long time coming. They got right back to it yesterday. And for Elmira, energy, I think, is the number one thing you have to bring to this game. On the road, you want to kind of steal one just like Danbury did last night.
Niedert comes out of his net to play the puck and leaves it back. Charging up on the left wing is number 14, Kenny Garrett, making his Danbury debut. Played on the road up in Watertown. Will be making his first appearance in front of a friendly crowd. As there's Stevens trying to spin it into the zone, but Garrett fields it down. Garrett maneuvers behind his net, is smoked out from behind the net by Novosel. Now Brett Menton shields the puck away. It hops off of the skates of Casper Dierson, and Carter Shinkarik will hold behind the net as Novosel comes out behind him.
Little history on Kenny Garrett making his professional debut just a couple days ago. Played over at Williston State at the ACHA D2 level. He also played for the Sugarland Imperials in the NA3HL. And Jack, the Danbury Colonials here in the NA3, they'll be getting back to work soon.
Ooh, as Vlad Gavrik shanked that one wide, and that was almost a prime scoring opportunity. That's the thing, when Gordy Bonnell is out there on the ice, you can never really be too careful because he can weave magic out of seemingly nothing.
And Gavrik was a little bit caught off guard. He was like, how did that pass get to my stick? He was behind the defender. He had the defender turn the wrong way, and Gavrik was just so surprised he fired that wide. You have to have a little bit more composure when you're that close to the net.
But as Zach mentioned, Jack, the Danbury Colonials currently undergoing a holiday break, but they currently are sitting first in the Northeast Division. So credit to them, the boys in the NA3.
It's been a season where they played the majority away from home. And this next half after this holiday break, it's going to be 15 out of 25 games or so right here at Danbury Arena. It has to feel good for the boys in orange coming back home for the home stretch.
And you can find out more about them at DanburyColonials.com. But right now we've got FPHL hockey as there's a chance out in front that's blockered aside by Niedert in the near side corner. Up the right wing pursuing is Matthias Kasich, who dumps it in deep, and it throws the truck stick on Dale Dion as he tries to enter in on the near side through an elbow towards him. Taking a step in is Tuma, trying to shield the puck away from Hussey. Loses the handle on it ever so slightly, and Dustin Skinner is there, and there's Skinner getting knocked down. Corey Anderson giving a little push and shove in the far side corner. Anderson was not in the lineup last 2 nights, but he is a feisty up-and-down player.
Good to see Corey Anderson back. The Danbury Hat-Tricks offense, they're missing Johnny Ruiz, called up to loaned to the Knoxville Ice Bears. They're in action tonight in the SPHL. And missing Corey Anderson, you take a look at the Danbury Hat-Tricks power play, especially over the last few days. They went 0 for 8 2 days ago against Mentor. Not much better against Elmira. Good to have Anderson back in the lineup.
As there's a pass out in front, and Tom Tracy couldn't get it towards the 6x4 opening. And now with Stuffman trying on the far side post, losing the handle on it was Tracy. Picking it up is Yanni Skropoulos, who takes a check from behind by Marty Tuma, who glues him against the wall. Hussey takes a swing at it. Now taken by Tracy, has it on his backhand. It's poke checked away by Thomas Freeman, a good play. He eventually got a shot off towards Nieder, but Freeman with a good job to close him out.
Yeah, had a couple of strong saves by Nick Nieder as well, using the blocker on both those previous 2 saves. He's looked good so far.
Nieder does like aggressively to come out of his net, too. We'll keep an eye on that as Nieder loves to take those adventures either to play the puck or just aggressively cut out the shooting lane as they enter in just barely off sides. And we get a stoppage of play. 5 minutes, 13 seconds gone by in the first period. Still no score.
Jack, I know you were up front taking care of everything with ticketing. This is one of the best crowds that we've seen in Danbury this season.
I think we're going to push a limit here tonight, guys. And the line was almost out the door when we were outside there. It's been a really, really good sizable crowd tonight. Christmas break, all the kids are home. They want to see some good hockey.
And why not? This is the final home game of 2019. Too, as we will not be back home in Danbury Arena until January the 9th, a Thursday night against the Watertown Wolves. Entering in now on the right side, pursuing is Gordy Bonnell. Behind his net to play the puck is Stiliadis. Leaves it for his defender, and a long stretch pass, and now here's a chance for Brandon Tucker. He was unable to field the puck cleanly. He still gets a shot off. That's saved by Nieder. The rebound try is shanked wide. And oh boy, that was almost a chance for Brandon Tucker, who snuck in behind the defense, fielded at the blue line. If he was able to get that cleanly on his stick, that's a breakaway.
It's a breakaway, and it's something that Nick Nieder has to be aware of, really having to go post to post to keep that one out.
Behind the end line it goes, and this will be an icing and an offensive zone faceoff upcoming for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Now, that's not the kind of lapse that you want to see terribly early in the game for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. You don't want to see anyone breaking in behind the defense like that.
No, and that's something that I don't want to call it an Achilles heel of the Danbury defense, but it's certainly something that they need to be aware of. Port Huron, they took advantage of it. Other teams who are speedy, they can take advantage of getting behind that Danbury defense.
Face-off will be to the right of Stiliadis. It will be Steve Mealy taking the draw against number 47, Kyle Stevens. Mealy wins it back to his defenseman, Aaron Atwell, with a long wrist shot redirected just wide. Now a stuff-in try from Anderson behind the net goes out wide. Oh, Anderson trying to use his long reach to stuff it in from behind the net. Brown crosses the way to Atwell, now up to Kasich on the right wing. Has it on his backhand, rolls off his stick, and then he loses his wood there and falls down to his belly.
Yeah, definitely lost something.
Not the most graceful of plays from Matthias Kasich. Here's Mealy motoring ahead on the left side. Being harassed from behind by Hudson Michaelis. He's checked hard from behind as Michaelis falls on top of him. Kasich trying to help dig the puck out of the far side midboards. But it will trickle across the blue line, and Corey Anderson will simply flip it in deep, and the Hat-Tricks will go off for a line change.
And guys, we're seeing how important Steve Mealy is to this Danbury Hat-Tricks team. You know, he started the year back on the blue line with Johnny Ruiz not available. Now he's centering this line with Anderson up front.
Here's Michaelis on the left wing trying to motor past Nicola Levesque. He will instead dump it in behind the end line. Nieder trying to get it towards himself so he can maybe freeze the puck. And Thomas Freeman said, oh, no, you don't. You're keeping this puck alive. And that's perhaps something that Nick Nieder will also have to adjust to, having not played in a while. He isn't entirely sure of the tendencies of his defensemen when they'll want to play the puck.
And especially the turnaround that we've seen from the defensive blue liners this season. There's no way, even for a seasoned goaltender this season, to figure out the tendencies of your defensemen.
At the same time, though, Nick Nieder, we haven't heard him yet. He's very vocal back there. His great communication. We'll see how he does with the D.
Freeman picks it up and now starts ahead with a head of steam. Now across the way for Nicola Levesque. It will hop over his stick and will be whacked out into the neutral zone. Skropple is trying to leave behind him. It's intercepted by Bronner, entering in with Levesque. Bronner squares to the net. It's blocked out in front. A good play by Dominic Horvath. Bronner cycles it down low to Levesque. Out with Shinkarik to complete the top line. Brett Menton and Thomas Freeman will patrol the blue line. Here's Shinkarik trying to shield the puck away. Is brought down from behind, and that will be a trip. And Dustin Skinner can't believe it. He'll shake his head as Nieder makes his way to the bench.
No, put your stick in the other player's skates. Other player goes down. It's an easy call for the referee to make. And now Danbury, well, Carter Shinkarik, he'll hang out behind the net. And they'll use this time with the extra attacker.
Here's Bunnell entering in on the right side. He's stopped by Hussey.
Oh, it was a good idea. They didn't do much with it.
Well, you waited all that time to get something set up, and then it only lasts about 2 seconds. It's very anticlimactic.
I will tell you this one thing, guys. It's kind of a dumb penalty there for Skinner's, I beg your pardon, as he gets called for the trip. Shinkarik goes out of the zone there. There's no reason for you to be that over-aggressive. He just takes a smack at his feet, trips over the body. I mean, that's just not a smart penalty to take.
So Danbury's going to go on to their first power play of the evening. As we mentioned, their special teams have not been good lately.
Here's Kasich crossing the way to Dearson. His shot goes high and wide, and you said it, Zach. Their power play is operating at 21%. They do have the most power play goals in the FPHL, but their percentage ranks really more towards the middle of the pack. It's their penalty kill that's really been shooting them in the foot this season.
You're absolutely right. They're 7th overall in the power play. Meanwhile, Elmira, their penalty kill, they're right in the middle of the pack as well. They kill off 81.9% of their penalties, good for 5th in the 10-team FPHL.
Gavrik will be out there at the far side point with Mealy to his right. Chips it down low for Gordy Bunnell, who swipes it over to Dearson. Dearson gets it out to Mealy at the point. Matthias Kasich at the bumper position. Mealy fans on the shot attempt. Almost looked like a pump fake, really, trying to get a defender out of position. Bunnell behind the end line.
Faked out about 1,000 fans here.
Here's Mealy from the slot, crossing the way out to Gavrik. Takes a step in, shot save, and it's cleared out of danger by Elmira.
Yeah, that's a great clear right in front. You see how tight the enforcers got in front of their goaltender there. The shot got through all their sticks right onto the ice. One of them gets there and the good clear.
Mealy will settle things down, and now here's Anderson picking it up and racing ahead, keeping his feet moving. He's got 3 enforcers in front of him, still chips it in behind them, gets it behind the end line as Levesque now at the near side circle. Bronner setting the screen in front. Looking across the way, intended for Shinkarik. It pops off of a defensive leg and is bouncing along the kick plate. Now here's Shinkarik, feeds Levesque, takes a step in. That shot is saved by Stiliadis. Out to Aaron Atwell, dances around a defender, maneuvers it to Levesque. Dishes it to Anderson, slides it back over to Levesque. Shot saved by Stiliadis. Rebound is kicked out. Taking a step in is Atwell. He slap passes it over to the far side corner. Shinkarik settles it down with 15 seconds to go in the power play. Losing the handle on it, and Elmira will be able to clear as Brandon Tucker, entering in short-handed, is cut off by Aaron Atwell with mere seconds remaining in the power play. The Danbury hat-tricks officially 0 for 1 now, as one last shot by Nikola Levesque is swallowed up by Stiliadis, and we're back to 5-on-5. And we've reached the media timeout as time is flying here. Continuous action for the hat-tricks and enforcers here this evening. Some quick north-south action.
Yeah, not many not many whistles so far. Plenty of photos, I'm sure, with the fans that we have here. Not many whistles so far, but on that last power play, Jack, you saw the passing of Danbury. Once they were able to set up, it was getting to that setting up part, though, that seemed to give them some difficulty.
Yeah, and you got to give credit for Elmira. I mean, they're just in the right place at the right time, and that's the major problem with a lot of teams is their setup. If you can't get a good setup going, you're not going to have success. But you saw that good shot from Gavrik. You saw a couple of good opportunities there. This power play drought is eventually going to end. They just have to find a way to get it into the back of the net. And once they do that, I think the goals will start to come a little bit more.
Be nice if the drought ended. You know, they could use the goals. And this drought really started during that 11-game winning streak. Imagine if they can get their special teams back to where they need to be.
Yeah.
It's a good-looking team.
Faceoff will be to the right of Stiliadis as we come out of the media timeout. We want to remind you to follow at Danbury Hat-Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for all exclusive content for the Danbury Hat-Tricks this season. Behind the end line and looking to escape on the left wing. Holding on to it, intercepted by Mealy. Mealy takes a swipe at it, gets it down low to Kasich. Mealy will now cut his way towards the net. He's lurking if they can get it to him. He'll provide support now behind the end line, but it will be Dustin Skinner, fresh out of the box, looking across the way intended for Michaelis. It will be out of his reach. It will not reach the red line in time, so Tuma forced to evade Michaelis. And Kasich will start things up from behind his own net with under 9 minutes left in the first period. Still looking for our first goal of the contest as Kasich loops it around the perimeter of the zone, and giving chase would be Bunnell. Throws a weak check. Puck bouncing up over the head of Thomas Freeman, and it will be sent back in pinball style by Matthias Kasich. As soon as it goes towards the red line, they flip it back in. Over to the right side, entering in is Brandon Tucker. Crosses red line, looking towards the blue line, enters in. Now a shot towards the net, kick save by Nieder. And it will be a delayed penalty going against the Danbury Hat-Tricks as a hooking call as Gino Mini was trying to enter into the zone.
Yeah, that's an easy call right there, guys. That's Dearson who got his stick up into the attacking player, got him right in the hands, and that's an obvious call. You can see it from here.
It's an obvious call, but more importantly for Danbury, they need to take the body there. Gino Mini certainly isn't. He's one of the bigger players in this league, as we saw him with Battle Creek earlier this season. But he's essentially able to dipsy-doodle his way around 3-4 defenders. If you're Danbury, somebody needs to take the body there.
The faceoff will be to the left of Nick Nieder. Brent Clark will take the draw for the Elmira Enforcers. Fighting for it in the far side corner. That's Glenn Patterson, who fell on top of him. Putting his arm up in the air was Phil Bronner, wanting a penalty call, as Aaron Atwell now was able to get back to his skates and killing off some precious seconds of this power play. Still doing battle is Atwell, keeping it alive in his skates. Steve Brown is also there. When will the puck finally emerge?
I didn't know we were watching rugby tonight.
Still loose, and finally it's out. There we go. Skinner getting it out to Tucker, who takes a bat at it and goes wide.
Guys, that was 30 seconds in the corner there.
That's quite the battle by Aaron Atwell. What a shift. Dion looking across the way to Skinner, has two enforcers setting a screen in front, Tucker and Patterson. This will be cleared out of the zone, though, and giving chase will be Phil Bronner.
You talk about the ability of a two-way forward like Carter Shinkarik. Guy's going to produce in both the goal and assist column. How about that little back check there on the defensive end? Gets that little stick lift, intercepts the puck, clears it out of the zone. Great play.
Here's Dale Dion taking a slap shot that's snatched out of the air by Nick Nieder, and he holds with 54 seconds remaining in the power play, 7:21 to go in the first period.
Good save by Nick Nieder on the shot from the point by Dion. Nieder does a good job of tracking that puck. He had some traffic moving in front of him, but Nieder was squared up to the shot. An easy glove save for the veteran goaltender. Elmira, their power play converts on 23.7% on their opportunities. That's good for fourth in league. And Danbury, well, they have the second worst power or penalty kill in the league. They only kill off 73.1% of their chances. So another test for the special teams on Danbury.
I will say, though, even though their penalty kill has been struggling, they have been getting more shorthanded goals of late. They did get a shorthanded goal in Mentor. They got a couple of shorthanded goals their last time home on the 20th against the Watertown Wolves, one being scored by Nicola Levesque, the other being scored by the now departed Johnny Ruiz, as here's Tuma taking a poke at it, trying to shuffleboard it ahead, and now he'll take a backhand swing, and Stiliadis will come out of his net to settle it down with 30 seconds to go on the power play. Out from behind his net is Dale Dion. He's got Gordy Bonnell in front of him. To Stevens on the right wing. Stevens has Tuma in front of him. Back pass now for Clark. Clark looking for Dion, and now off to the races. Here comes Vlad Gavrik. Has a tough angle to the net. Gavrik entering in on the right side, slides it out to Bonnell. Bonnell drags the toe, looking to the net. Stiliadis is down. Bonnell fanned on the shot.
That just jumped over his stick.
Now here's Stevens the other way in transition, and we'll get a whistle for an offsides. As almost right on cue, the Danbury Hat-Tricks generate a shorthanded rush. Bonnell, great instincts by Gavrik to recognize that Bonnell was the trailer.
And the problem with that play is Dale Dion, he takes the eyes off of the puck coming in, and then he was late to get back, and that's what allowed Gavrik to get into that 2-on-1 scenario. Great toe drag as well there by Gordy Bonnell. My goodness, what skill. But a good job for the rest of the enforcers to fall back defensively and just force the puck out.
You're absolutely right about Dion there on the blue line. It almost like it didn't click with him for a second that Gavrik wasn't going for a change. He was going for the breakaway.
We're back to even strength. Both sides now 0 for 1 on the man advantage. Holding it in the Danbury attacking zone is Tom Tracy, who gets leveled for his efforts by Steve Brown. Tracy back to his feet, has it in the near side corner. Anderson will send it over to an area in the far side corner. His defenseman Brown is the first to get there, but Brown will be hugged from behind by Brendan Hussey. Here's Tracy fielding the puck for the enforcers. Tracy has Hussey down low, Yarwood at the point. Matty's Kasich trying to block out Yarwood at the point. Here's Yarwood lurking in the slot, though, calling for it, doesn't receive. Cycling it down low, here's Tom Tracy. Calling for it once more is Skropolis at the near side point. They instead get it out to the far side point, and Dominic Horvath sends it well wide. Now here's a chance for Skropolis. He sends wide. Anderson kicks it out into the neutral zone. Mealy trying to pick it up in front of him. Enters in just barely on sides. Mealy has Anderson cutting to the net. Loses the possession of the puck. And it would be Tracy finishing the job, carrying it over his own blue line and dumping it in deep for a change.
Nah, that's Tom McGuckin making the glove save on the Danbury bench as that one goes out of play. Hey, you know what? I always like it when the backup goaltenders, they get involved any way that they can.
Well, they have to stay sharp. You know, it's sometimes, you know, you're not going to play for the rest of the weekend. It's a Saturday game. This is the final game of the weekend. He's going to say, hey, I want to keep my game as sharp as I possibly can.
Yeah, nice grab with the glove, though.
There you go.
Well, McGuckin has certainly seen his fair share of shots. In his last 9 appearances, 6 of them have been 30 shots or more against. So this is not a man who has really been a stranger to vulcanized rubber discs flying towards him.
And Casey, how many of those have been 50-plus shots?
Oh, he has had 3 games in this stretch of 40 shots or more. One of them was 50 up in Watertown. I mean, he's faced a heck of a workload. A long shot from the high slot goes wide of the net. Freeman picks up the loose change, tries to get past Stevens. He does, crosses the blue line, tries to deke around another defender, still retains possession, trying to get it out to Levesque in front of the net, and it hops up off the legs of Levesque and goes out to the far side midboards. Levesque turns around, shoots, stops by Stiliadis, got him in the mask. And it will be cleared out by the Elmira defense. Fanning on the chances, Brett Menton taking the puck away, Brandon Tucker. Tucker trying to force his way past Menton, loses possession of the puck. Freeman up to Levesque on the left wing, has Bronner. Bronner with a nifty behind the back play to leave it for Shinkarik. Now taking a step in, Menton looking towards the net. Stiliadis easily steers that aside. He's trying to get the redirection from Shinkarik. Michaelis has it hop off the boot of his skate. Dale Dion crosses the blue line, enters in. Dion looks to the net. Pad stop by Nieder, and it almost snuck underneath.
A little bit of daylight underneath that right pad, but Nieder did well to just kind of sit down on it, not make any jolted movements. You didn't want to force it into the back of the net there, but again, some back and forth action. The nice little nifty pass from Bronner in the neutral zone, and then Menton, you said it, Casey, he was looking for that deflection for Shinkarik. Sometimes you're going to need one of those goals just to break the ice.
Well, shots have been pretty even so far, 9-7 in favor of Danbury. Seems like the Hat-Tricks are getting the better opportunities right now, but good job by Stiliadis to keep us even.
Turnover now in front, and Novosel had a look to the net, but was steered aside by the defender, Steve Brown. Dearson jostling forward with Hudson Michaelis. Now Steve Brown spins away. The Elmira forecheck today has been very aggressive. It seems like they've really gone to school after in this, now their 6th meeting with the Danbury Hat-Tricks, as Bunnell with a one-touch lead now sends it in deep for Dearson, who's in behind the defense. Dearson out to Bunnell, has it on his backhand, spins away from a defender, gets it down low, backhand try saved, and a rebound is steered aside. Yarwood was there. Gavrik was lurking in the blue paint, losing his footing as Gordy Bunnell. Skinner fields, and a passive forecheck in turn by the Danbury Hat-Tricks as what was almost a prime scoring opportunity in front. As Anderson motors ahead, his long wrist shot is swallowed up by Stiliadis, and he holds with 3:10 to go in the first period.
Getting back to that Elmira forecheck, Jack, I saw you looking at it. A real easy 1-3-1 because they're sending one guy in deep, but then they've got 3 lined up across the red line, and then that defenseman kind of playing as a free safety in the back.
And I haven't really noticed it up until that point, but the breakthrough is not that challenging for Danbury. I mean, they get past that first guy. It's an easy dump and chase. Their forecheckers are just way quicker on the puck.
In behind the end line, Anderson trying to knock it over to Kasich. Can't connect. Here's Mealy pinching in. Cycling it for Kasich. Now over to Mealy. Stuff and try on the near side post. Hit the side of the net. Here's Tuma. Looking for a long shot through traffic. Went off the skates of Kasich. Freeman holds it in and sends it into an area on the far side corner. Good play by Freeman. Stay on the balls of his feet. Freeman now racing back to cut off the play, and Freeman trying to play a 200-foot game here as a defenseman with all the faces coming in and out of this Danbury roster, especially on the blue line. Freeman is one of those guys that they need to step up.
He continues to grow, too. We saw that one game winner he had a few weekends back, and I think that was the turning point in his season for him. He's played a really good game so far, entering in the attacking zone when he needs to. He plays a very good two-way game for this team. He's going to need to have a really good season moving forward for this team to be successful.
Brandon Tucker behind the end line, feeds Yarwood, thinks about a shot, now he takes it, sends it wide, and Nieder uses his blocker hand to cover up the puck. And we get a stoppage with 2:03 remaining in the first period.
And Jack, along those lines, Kyle Gonzalez, he was the first Danbury hat-trick to get loaned out to the SPHL. Cruz Listmeyer, he's suspended for another few games. So you're right, you need these players to step up. It's given somebody like Thomas Freeman an opportunity here. It gives somebody like Brett Menton an opportunity as well.
Here's Steve Brown holding on to it. Brown, one of those defensemen who has seen a ton of minutes given the absences on the blue line. Brown and Atwell you're able to throw them out there in any scenario, offensive or defensive, so they have aided this transition process as there's Atwell sliding out of the way, and now a rush opportunity, a 3-on-2 for the Hat-Tricks if they hurry. Here's Shinkarik looking across the way to Levesque. Levesque with a shot and a nifty glove save by Stiliadis. Flashing some leather.
Nice job by Mike Stiliadis to track Levesque as Levesque kind of came out from behind the Elmira defense. There was some daylight up top. I don't know if Stiliadis was trying to tempt Levesque into trying to go bar down. Levesque with a nice shot. It was lower to the ice, about 18 inches up, and Stiliadis gets the glove on it.
And that's impressive that Shinkarik was able to get that pass through all those bodies. And it was a pass he received from Atwell that was kind of behind him and threw off the momentum of the 3-on-2 that was developing. But somehow, some way, Nicola Levesque had the puck on his stick and almost had goal number 1.
1:20 to go in the first period as a long wrist shot is seen all the way by Stiliadis, and he'll hold on to it for another offensive zone draw for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Shots on goal pulling away now, the Danbury Hat-Tricks, 15-7.
Casper Dierson with that last shot on goal. He had the game-winning goal yesterday. He had a couple assists as well. Not bad for the Swede.
And Billy McCreary is apoplectic behind the Danbury Hat-Tricks bench, screaming that the Elmira Enforcers were trying to make a change too late. They were already situated in the offensive zone, and now they're allowing Clark to come on out onto the ice for the Elmira Enforcers.
Not sure if they're allowing him onto or ordering him back onto.
Face-off won by the Hat-Tricks. Winding and firing is that. Well, juicy rebound out in front. Gavrick trying to force it towards the net. It gets sent wide. Good job by Dale Dion to get his body in front of that one. Spinning away from a hit is Bunnell. Has Dierson also behind the end line. Gavrick in the circle. Feeds Brown for a one-time shot redirected just wide. That found the stick of Dierson. Final minute of play here in the first period. It goes all the way down towards the blue line. It fell from the sky, and a shot by Tucker is swallowed up by Nieder.
That is a heck of an effort there for Tucker. He gets the Hail Mary pass across the length of the ice. It fights through two very good defenders and somehow, some way gets a piece on it. It was a little bit of a tricky puck because it was on edge. He still got the shot off, and Nieder was able to stand tall.
Brandon Tucker comes into this game with 14 goals. That leads Elmira in the scoring department. You see why there. Not an easy puck to handle.
I can't get over the angle from when he fielded that puck. It fell from the sky. It looked like someone put it on a string and dropped it from center ice. 40 seconds to go in the first period. Here's Bronner entering in with Levesque. Levesque with a wrist shot. That's stopped by Stiliadis and held. Shot it right into the crest on the center of his sweater.
Over the last 5 minutes or so, guys, they're just seeing the buildup of Danbury. Better rushes, guys in numbers, getting good shot opportunities. Stiliadis, I mean, he's looked really, really good so far, but the rebounds are something that you're going to have to watch moving forward. Elmira's put a precedent on getting in front of the net and grabbing the rebound before Danbury's able to jump on for second chances.
35 seconds to go in the first period. Levesque throws a check, but the Enforcers are able to escape from their own end. Here's Hudson Michaelis with a defenseman in front of him. Gets around him. Michaelis with a shot. Saved by Nieder. Rebound is kicked out. Trying to pinch it into Stevens. Now a 2-on-2 for the Hat-Tricks. Here's Shinkarik with Levesque with 20 seconds to go. Shinkarik's shot goes off a defensive stick and way up into the netting as we get a stoppage with 15.4 remaining in the opening frame.
Well, the shots keep coming for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. But now we're starting to see, in the last few moments of this period, we're starting to see Elmira with these home run passes. You guys had mentioned it already. Nieder, he's got to stay sharp back there. He hasn't seen too many shots, only 9 this period, but he's stopped them all.
Faceoff will be to the left of Stiliadis. It's Steve Mealy, who's been good so far, but he will not get another opportunity in the faceoff dot. It will be Corey Anderson instead taking the draw, and he still wins it for the Hat-Tricks. Here's Bunnell trying to get back to the blue line. Michaelis is lurking in the neutral zone, but they keep it in. Here's Anderson behind the end line, looking off the side of the net. Picked up for one last chance. Waning seconds of the opening period. Tucker will elect to dump it in deep, and that will do it for the first. No scoring so far, which is really something of a novelty here at Danbury Arena. We're used to seeing much higher scoring affairs than this, regardless of opponent.
I was going to say, have we seen a scoreless first period yet this season here at Danbury Arena? My goodness. But it was not the lack of excitement by any means. I mean, Danbury, they had the pressure on over the last couple of minutes there, really, really pushing the envelope, trying to find something. They just couldn't connect. And Nick Nieder, in his return, he hasn't played here since the second weekend. I mean, he's been very, very good over the last couple of minutes or so. I mean, I haven't seen anything where it's a question mark from him so far.
No, he's doing a good job of seeing the puck, especially after such a long layoff that he had. That's the kind of period that you want for him. He's doing a good job of holding on to the puck, seeing the puck, and his rebound control is where it needs to be as well. You can make that first save, but if you leave it, a juicy rebound in front of the net in the slot, well, you're going to have problems. He's doing a good job directing them to the corners, directing them out of play.
What is going on here?
Yeah, we've got our intermission graphic ready to go, but maybe we'll let you folks at home watch this as well.
There might be more scoring in this than there was in the first period, and that if anyone is able to score, we got a man down.
Oh.
We should have gotten lineup cards for this one.
That should be a penalty.
Yeah, the net's knocked off its mooring. They keep it in. A look to the net, trying for the kick save.
I feel like these guys are playing a much more physical game.
Oh, good clear. Very good clear.
Which one is shooting on what net? Orange is going right to left. All right. As a shot by the man in the Phil Bronner jersey is intercepted. He crosses the red line, trying to get across. It's met by the defense.
Oh, they've got a chance here.
Oh!
Doesn't reach it.
Rebound!
Oh! What effort.
That's the best play you'll see all evening.
He went all out for that diving kick into the net. Call it the scissor kick, folks.
Oh,
incredible.
Goodness. We have to take our leap before we get too excited as that shot goes too wide. We'll be back momentarily when the chaos is done unfolding. You're watching Danbury Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Danbury Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Zach McGinnis and Jack O'Mara. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for live coverage of the Danbury Hat Tricks as they take on the Elmira Enforcers in Danbury Arena. Casey Bryant, Zach McGinnis, and Jack O'Mara here to bring you exclusive live coverage tonight and all season long of Danbury Hat Tricks hockey. We're getting set for the start of the second period, but first it's time for the FPHL out-of-town scoreboard. Here's Zach McGinnis.
Thanks, Casey. Down in Delaware, the Watertown Wolves have a 2-1 lead over the Thunder, a pair of former Danbury Titans getting the goals for Watertown in Tyler Jurich and Kyle Powell. Eastern Division Conference or Eastern Division matchup going on there. Casey, you're going to be very disappointed to hear that Carolina, the Thunderbirds have a 3-0 lead over the Battle Creek Rumblebees.
No.
They are through 2 periods of play. Here's the stat that jumps out to me. The Battle Creek Rumblebees currently have 6 shots on goal through 2 periods of play.
Oh, no.
So here's tonight's trivia question. How many shots do the Carolina Thunderbirds have?
Oh, boy. Through 2 periods?
Through 2 periods.
I'll say 30.
They have put up 28 shots in the first period,
Pretty close.
29 shots in the second period, 57 shots through 2 periods of play. And gosh, I wish we had a camera on your face right now.
Look, it's wrong to laugh at other teams.
We're not laughing. We're rooting for them.
Absolutely. It is wrong to laugh. So don't get it confused that when we poke, and for those without context, the Battle Creek Rumblebees last night set the record for worst losing streak, the worst start to their season ever. They were 0-23, and it looks like, barring a comeback, they will be 0-24 tonight. So every loss extends history. So what we are rooting for is not so much. We want it to be competitive.
Exactly. We want it to be competitive, and quite frankly, I want to see them get a point. The fans out in Battle Creek, a couple of them traveled out here to Danbury when we hosted them a few weeks ago. They're looking for that first win. We're rooting for them. Not sure if it's going to take place against the first place Carolina Thunderbirds tonight.
Well, I tell you what, last night they came pretty darn close. It was a 1-goal game heading into the third period.
Well, you want to talk about close against these Elmira Enforcers?
Oh, no.
They had a 5-2 lead going into the third period a couple weekends ago against Elmira, and then they give up 4 goals unanswered, and the Enforcers skate away with a 6-5 victory. Elsewhere around the league, down in Georgia, they're tied at 1 in the third period between the Columbus River Dragons and the Danville Dashers. The Mentor Icebreakers currently trail at home to the Port Huron Prowlers 2-1. They're just about finished with the second period. And right here in Danbury, 0-0 your score. And Casey, I went through the rest of the games during the intermission. That is the first period that we've had here in Danbury with no scoring either way.
Well, there you go, because we're so used to action-filled periods here, especially in the opening and closing few minutes. You know, say what you will at the middle of the periods, but like ordinarily it seems like within the first 3 minutes or within the final 2 minutes, I'll say, there's usually a flurry of scoring chances, which the Danbury Hat Tricks did generate at the end of the first period. They did get some offensive pressure, as evidenced by the fact that they have 17 shots on goal to their credit. So what kind of momentum are they taking into the second period?
Well, they need to find that momentum. You know, Nick Niedert, he's done a good job in the blue paint for the boys here in white and orange, but they're getting their opportunities. They had 7 shots on goal in the last 3 minutes of that period. Goaltender Michael Stiliadis of Elmira did a good job of keeping that goose egg up on the board. So if you're Danbury, keep doing what you're doing. Stay tight defensively, because we're seeing Elmira with those home run passes. We're seeing the Enforcers get those opportunities. So Danbury can't get lackadaisical on their own back end. But offensively, they're getting the shots on goal. Eventually, you figure one's going to find the back of the net.
And you mentioned Nick Niedert making his first start. Nick Niedert, we marveled at how far out of his net he comes to play the puck, and he's very active with his legs. You see every shot that's coming towards him, he's got his legs moving, he's kicking it out. It's very, and you hate to use this term when in regards to Nick Niedert, it's a very old-fashioned approach to playing the net, being so active with the lower part of your body when the shot is coming in, actively fighting it off into the corner.
Well, he's been active forever. You know, he's 37 years young now. And yeah, that's the kind of style that Niedert was taught growing up. He's certainly adapted his game. It's more of a butterfly game these days that you see goaltenders play, but Niedert, still a great goaltender.
And he's proving why here as the Danbury Hat Tricks. Puck is dropped and away we go. Hat Tricks will be skating from right to left on your YouTube screen, donning their usually road whites with orange trim, but they're wearing their home whites and sort of a callback to the old days of hockey where teams used to wear the whites at home.
Well, we were talking about the Danbury Colonials earlier. They usually wear their white jerseys here at home.
That is true. The Colonials don't really seem to have a set rotation of uniforms. They usually just kind of wear what they wear.
Yeah, no, they've got NBA rules. You never know what they're going to be wearing any given evening.
Behind his own net is Glenn Patterson as he waits to direct traffic, as we have some good-natured jawing going on between Brandon Tucker and Matthias Kasich out in the neutral zone. The two of them came together and exchanged words as still holding on to it is Patterson, waiting for something to open up.
Listen, we saw it in the first period with Danbury. Behind that net, it's very comfortable.
And now finally we have some movement as skating ahead is Patterson. All that just for an icing. Oh, no, they'll say it was deflected. And play will continue. As taking a step in and clearing it out, Patterson, it rolls over his stick, and Matthias Kasich will pursue. So not quite the play that they had in mind, waiting for about 40 seconds behind their own net. As Anderson tries to smoke out Patterson, throws a check. Tucker will pick up the puck in the near side corner. Tucker up into the neutral zone, finds Stevens. It's a hard check behind the play. Anderson knocked down Tucker. Taking the puck away is Steve Mealy. He enters in with Anderson. Drops it back to Kasich. Kasich with a wrist shot that's blocked out in front. A rebound try is bouncing around towards the near side post. Kasich falling down to the ice. Wires it towards the net and gets it off the side. And Anderson jumping right back into the play after throwing that hard check. Anderson has played a very black and blue game so far in this period.
He's been tremendous. Super physical since the start of this game. He's all over the place, making sure to lay the lumber. And after you miss a couple games, it's important to jump right back onto the ice and make sure you're out there and being physical. That's a good sign.
Out of his net to play the puck is Stylianis, plays it over to Yarwood, who tries to lift it up into the air. It bounces into the midsection of Freeman, takes a swipe at it and whiffs. The second try goes towards the blue line, but no further, as spinning away with it is Brent Clark. Picked up by Skinner as a roar of, it looked like a foghorn went off over there in section 102.
That's a good old vuvuzela.
Shot and they score! A snipe from Dale Dion from the center of the slot. Beats Nieder glove side. It's 1-0 Enforcers.
Not much that Nick Nieder can do there. Lots of traffic in front of net. I counted 4 or 5 bodies. And Dion with a seeing eye shot. You said it, Casey. Goes right over the glove of Nick Nieder. I don't think Nieder even reacted until the puck was already behind him.
Yeah, it might have gotten a deflection up front, and it's so tough when you're blinded like that and you're already going down. There's no way to track that puck. Why not for Elmira? You were outplayed in the last 5 minutes of that first period. Come back out, find a shot from the blue line. Good things are going to happen when you get bodies in front of the net.
And that entire sequence started with yet another home run pass. Freeman was able to knock it down, but he wasn't able to gain possession of it. And Elmira ultimately is able to convert on Dale Dion's second goal of the season.
They will say that Skinner got a stick on it, with Dale Dion the initial shooter.
Really? They're giving that one to Skinner?
That is what was announced over the loudspeaker. I thought it went in clean.
That's what it looked like to me as well. But, again, plenty of traffic in front. Maybe Dustin Skinner did get a stick on it. We'll have to take a look at it between periods.
Well, if the goal is, in fact, Skinner's, it will be his 7th of the season. We'll keep an eye on Dale Dion. But for Dale Dion, as it stands right now, that is his 5th assist in this week and over the course of 3 games. Dale Dion has been a welcome addition. He's playing in his 9th game as a member of the Elmira Enforcers and now has himself 11 points.
Good production from the blue line for Elmira. But now let's see how Danbury responds. We always talk about how they're able to bounce back from adversity. They haven't been able to even get possession of the puck yet.
Entering in is Tom Tracy, has it on his backhand, hits it off of the legs of Steve Brown, and now it's picked up by Aaron Atwell. Atwell igniting the rush, entering in on the blue line with Vladislav Gavrik. Atwell powers his way to the net. A backhander is steered aside by Stylianis. Behind the end line it goes. Bunnell retrieves, checked from behind by Yarwood, passes it out to Kasich. His shot saved by Stylianis. Oh, Stylianis with that glove hand has been so active this evening. He's got a couple of great stops in close.
I like Kasich getting involved there. He's on the blue line covering for Aaron Atwell.
And now a shot attempt that goes into the far side corner, bouncing up towards Steve Mealy. Trying to get numbers as the hat-tricks enter in. Mealy dropped past to Kasich. Once more, maneuvers to the slot. Kasich with a wrist shot. Couldn't get all of it. Stylianis punches it out of the air, and it will go out into the zone, and they will rule that it was, I believe, a delay of game. Yes.
I think that's what they're going to call. It looks like the far referee coming in with the signal.
That's a wonky play because that never touched the ice again. It hit off of the glove of Stiliadis and then again off an enforcer.
And it's going to be, it's going to be Cameron. Is that Yarwood going to the
Yes,
box?
it is.
Yeah, so Yarwood's going to sit 2 minutes for a delay of game. And the Hat-Tricks will go on to their second power play. Now trailing by 1. They're 0 for 1 so far, but this is an opportunity to tie things up.
And guys, with the ticket office still open for another hour, the Danbury Hat-Tricks have set a new attendance record already.
Nice.
And they'll have a loud crowd if they're able to find the back of the net to even up the score here as Nick Nieder comes out of his net to play the puck. The Hat-Tricks starting out their power play with Corey Anderson, Phil Bronner, Carter Shinkarik, Nikola Levesque, and Aaron Atwell. Atwell slotting in where Johnny Ruiz once stood as a 5-forward unit. Entering in is Shinkarik. Bronner maneuvers to the net. Shinkarik looking for the setup in front, goes off the back of the net. Atwell will field it at the blue line to make sure it doesn't go over. Here's Levesque crossing the way for Anderson, hops over his stick, has Stevens in front of him. Atwell in the high slot, looks behind the net. Bronner pounces out to field the puck. Here's Shinkarik out to Atwell, pitch and catch. Shinkarik at the near side circle to the slot. Levesque shot stopped by Stiliadis.
I'm not sure if Levesque knew that Glenn Patterson had lost his stick right behind him. Nick actually had a little extra time than he needed to with taking that shot. Either way, decent setup so far for Danbury. We'll see the second power play unit out here now with 1:11 to go.
They're passing it very well, guys, especially around the bumper and the near side boards here, but they just have to get higher percentage shots. That's a good shot there for Levesque, but you said it, Zach. If he takes that extra second, he could really pick his spot there and try to beat the goaltender. Instead, he just shoots it right into the letters.
Gavrik out to the slot to Kasich, who maneuvers it just wide. Here's Dearson in the corner. Dearson with Kasich spotting up, wanting it at the circle. Instead, they find Mealy. Mealy crosses the way to Gavrik. Now once more to Kasich. His shot goes wide. Here's Benell with 50 seconds to go in the power play. Benell with his back to the net. Now spins along the boards. Gets it out to Mealy, trying to force his way through. Gets it to Dearson, a wrist shot. That's held by Stiliadis. Juggled it for a second. And Stiliadis has been so steady seeing that puck, guys.
He is, and a way to hang in on that tough shot on the rebound. It's a great find from Mealy as he evades a defender, just sends it across for Casper Dearson, and he just kind of shoots it. He's not in a one-time position there, so he takes it in one motion instead with the wrister. But again, he's just been so sharp, Michael Stiliadis, all night tonight.
Stevens will go in the faceoff dot against Shinkarik. Shinkarik wins it out to Levesque. Levesque with a backhand pass over to Atwell. Now once more to Levesque. Shinkarik back to Levesque at the circle. Bronner setting up in front. Atwell has Anderson to his right. Finds him. Anderson tees up a wrist shot that goes off of the legs of Dominic Horvath and up into the netting. 27 seconds to go in the power play. 5 minutes and 51 seconds gone by in the second.
And that's what you want to see when you're Elmira, is guys just getting right out to the shooter. And there's a telestrated shot there and an easy block there for Dominic Horvath. Just stands tall and take it off the body.
Atwell at the point to Levesque at the near side. Bronner taking the eyes away of Stiliadis. Anderson calling for it at the far side circle. Shinkarik holds. Shinkarik down low to Levesque, looking for the backdoor pass. Loses the handle on it. Bronner fighting for it in front of the net, and it will be cleared out by the Elmira enforcers.
Yeah, sloppy play in front there. Bronner's trying to make something out of nothing, and that's what happens. Elmira, they have just been pinching down in front of the net all night long, and they've been successful with it.
Well, they've been successful because Danbury's not getting much puck movement, especially on that last opportunity.
Here's Shinkarik at the midboards, as you are right. Not a whole lot of puck movement, but only a couple of really true scoring chances. Here's Atwell with a shot from the far side point that's deflected wide. That went off of the legs of Dale Dion. Yarwood trying to force it out. Levesque loses the battle along the boards, and it will be cleared down by the enforcers. This one will be an icing for the Hat-Tricks. So we get a stoppage of play and an offensive zone faceoff for the Danbury Hat-Tricks, who really, they're used to imposing their will with the puck movement. When they had those 5-forward unit with Ruiz out there, they've been starting to change the personnel that's out there for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. They got not quite as crisp puck movement as they're used to getting, and that's a credit to the Elmira penalty kill for taking away their usual passing lanes.
Absolutely. It's been very, very strong for Elmira, and Danbury hasn't been tested like this in a while, where they've been challenged in all regards and their offense has been shut down. It's really, really uncharacteristic from them. We're used to seeing 5-6 goals a night, and they still have a goose egg on the board here almost halfway through this game.
Pitchforking it towards the net is Thomas Freeman, but it will be whistled down for a stoppage of play. It looks like it will be played with a high stick, and we'll get a stoppage 7 minutes, 2 seconds into the second period.
Curious shot selection by Freeman there, as you said it right. It was more of a pitchfork backhand that was directed towards the net. You're not really expecting to score on something like that. It's also hard for a teammate to try and handle.
It almost seemed like Freeman was trying to just send it towards an area. He heard footsteps as a defender was bearing down on him, and there's Tuma playing it in offside. Steve Neely a bit too deliberate getting back over the blue line, and we'll have another neutral zone draw.
But even that play right there, it demonstrates the changes that the Hat-Tricks are going to have to make, because, yeah, they seem a bit out of sorts right now. They're still out shooting Elmira, almost doubling up on them. 23-12, your shots on goal, but they're not. Casey, as you said, they're not really the best of shots.
Here's Dearson looking across the way. His pass attempt knocks the stick out of the hands of Dion. Now here's Skinner in transition for the black and green. Skinner, back pass, looking for Clark. His shot, blocker saved by Nieder. Rebound try bouncing around at the near side circle is steered away by Bunnell. Here's Mealy entering in on the right side, trying to get around a defender. He collides with his own teammate. Bunnell loses his glove. Freeman will dump it back in, and Bunnell will go back mittless towards the bench. Holding behind the net is Dion. Kasich is aggressively out on the forecheck, waiting for Dion to make a move. Here's Yarwood now on the right side, trying to get around Anderson. He does. Picked off in the neutral zone briefly, but Michaelis is able to force it towards the Hat-Tricks net. Nieder plays the puck, and we get a stoppage as the enforcers entered in offsides. 8 minutes solid gone by in the second period, with the enforcers leading 1-0.
Now you see the confusion on the last couple of plays for the Hat-Tricks, just out of sorts. And it's the period of long change, and that's something we haven't seen over the last few weeks, last couple of months here when they've been streaking. Good spacing from them previously, but when you have two guys collide with each other, that's not a good sign.
And usually that's not the way Coach draws it up.
No.
Well, Coach has had a tough time drawing anything up this week because he's been too busy playing. Billy McCreary played both in Mentor on Thursday night and in Elmira last night, and got himself the top hat last night as the Hat-Tricks got a win, his first win as a player since 2014-15 when he last played with the Dayton Demons.
He wasn't able to find the score sheet in the goal or assist column, yet somehow in those two games, Coach McCreary ends up with 18 penalty minutes.
He got a misconduct at the end of that Mentor game. As there's Kasich trying to lay the body, trying to take the puck away. A Let's Go Hat-Tricks chant up from the Danbury faithful, who have truly packed the house here tonight in Danbury Arena. Trickling over towards Stylianis, steers it aside, picking it up is Gino Mini. Mini with a long two-line pass finds the stick of Skropolis. Now entering in is Tracy. Tom Tracy from the slot forces his way to the right, now wraps behind the net. Set up in front, that shot saved by Nieder.
Nice patience shown by Tom Tracy, the former Berlin River driver, as he has the opportunity to take the shot. Instead, he decides to go behind the net, finds a better outlet for that puck, and Nieder has to stand tall.
Faceoff will be to the right of Nick Nieder. It will be Stevens going up against Carter Shinkarik. Shinkarik wins it back. Shinkarik's been very good on that faceoff dot here today, and they need all the help they can get in the faceoff. And you hate to keep talking about Johnny Ruiz's impact when he departed the team, but he was also a stellar faceoff man. He left as the leading scorer for the Danbury Hat-Tricks and one of their leading faceoff men as well.
Yeah, I'm very happy for Johnny getting loaned out to the SPHL, but gosh, I hope that he's back here soon.
Well, that is the double-edged sword of the FPHL. As soon as you get acquainted with someone and they're playing well, they've earned themselves a promotion, and it's great for them, but you're left trying to pick up the pieces here in the FPHL. Taking a winding and firing it off of his own man's leg. Stevens is down for the count. He's curled up by the near side post, and we'll get a whistle as Stevens is struggling to get back to his feet, as Nick Nieder, the former Elmira enforcer, will come over and make sure he's okay.
Yeah, that's tough. He had his back turned to the shooter. He was going towards the net, and it caught him right in the leg right where the pads are separated. So that's just puck on leg right there. Impressive to see he was able to skate off under his own power. That does not feel good.
No, especially getting it in the back there. It's either going to hit your calf or your Achilles, both places that usually don't mix well with the 3-inch piece of vulcanized rubber. And Stevens, he certainly has some words for his teammates on the bench.
Well, Stevens is one of the most fiery players on this Elmira team, as evidenced by the fact that he was the one who mixed it up with Nikola Levesque back on November the 16th. It was the fight that ignited a massive scoring output for Elmira, as a 1-goal got 2-1 game quickly became a 5-1 game. Here's Vlad Gavrik, gets around a defender, is brought down from behind, still gets it out to Bennell. Bennell with a setup in front, they score! Casper Dearson buries it! What a feed from Bennell, it's tied at 1!
Oh, let the horn guy go. My goodness. What a play. First it's Gavrik. He gets hauled down. It's going to draw a penalty from his belly. He's able to get it over to Gordy Bennell. Bennell has trouble holding it. A blind backhand pass finds Casper Dearson, the trailer on that play. And if you're goaltender Michael Stiliadis, you have so many things happening in front of you, nothing he can do. And finally, Danbury finds the back of the boards. Plenty of carrots now on the ice for the arena crew here to clean up. But Jack, again, not the prettiest of plays, but at this point, Danbury will take it.
It doesn't have to be the prettiest play in the book, because this whole period, of the last few minutes especially, Danbury just looked flat. They couldn't get out of their own zone. Guys weren't skating that well. This is just an effort play from Vlad Gavrik. He gets the trip from his belly. Then Gordy Bennell, we mentioned him time and time again. Casey, you talked to me before the broadcast about how crucial Gordy Bennell's game is and will be in the absence of Johnny Ruiz and some of the more important players on this team. He has a beautiful feed in front, and then Casper Dearson, who missed all that time with the injury, he connects. That's a great way to respond.
Gordy Bennell now extends his point streak to 9 games. He's got points in 18 of his last 19 as a Danbury hat trick. What a standout he's been. But really, let's not forget about how that play started. The entry by Vlad Gavrik, a nifty move to get around the defender, and then he had drawn a penalty. He was brought down with the stick being in his skates, and he's still able to get it over towards Gordy Bennell. What a series of passes that was for Danbury.
Well, yeah, again, those are 3 players who you don't normally see them exactly playing together on the same line, but really I give a lot of credit to Casper Dearson, who has really been on fire this weekend with another goal in this game. But following up on the play, he's in the right position, and Bennell knows where he's supposed to be, and he's able to get it over to him.
So as we get the carrots cleaned up here.
Yeah, plenty of
Danbury
carrots out there. But, you know, this is something that Danbury, the players, they're aware of it. This is something that they have to deal with, because you can almost make the argument that it can sap your momentum. You know, you have a goal like that, and certainly something that Danbury's worked so hard for on their 24th shot of the game, and we're just about halfway through. But now they have to actually get back into it.
Yeah,
and try and take the lead.
I think you're right, Zach. This is an even game now. Let's get back to the recipe that has been so successful for this team. They've had the dominant effort overall in this game. They need to get back to it.
Entering back in, and a shot that's fought off by Stiliadis. Well, you talked about wanting to answer and get that spark plug going, and there's the hat tricks entering right back in with a scoring chance.
Oh, Jack, you mentioned the recipe for success. I thought I might have seen an actual ingredient get tossed out.
There were a couple, guys. There were actual carrots on the ice.
That is true.
Like grocery store-bought carrots.
Someone stopped at Stu Leonard's. Puck entering in. Tracy's brought down from behind. That'll be a delayed penalty as Brett Menton touches up the puck, and a tripping call will go against the Danbury hat tricks. So just as soon as the Danbury hat tricks evened up the score, the Elmira Enforcers will get a chance to reclaim their lead on the power play.
Yeah, that's just a play where it looks like it's going to be number 14, Kenny Guerra, who gets called for. He just gets beat, and instead of turning his hips and trying to get back and play with the body, he uses his stick. And it's an easy tripping call for the official to make, because when a player's behind you and you stick your stick out, there's no way that's going to be a recipe for success.
We saw the first penalty against Elmira, pretty much a very similar situation. And so Elmira, they're 0 for 1 on the power play so far. Danbury has to make sure that they can kill this one off.
Long shot is snagged by Nick Nieder. Gloved that one over his head. So Kenny Garrett will take a seat in the penalty box. Offensive zone draw will be taken to the left of Nick Nieder.
Kenny Garrett actually played his youth hockey just down the road from here over in Brewster as part of the Brewster Bulldogs.
Former Bulldog, that is right. As Clark over on the near side circle gets it out to the high slot. Here's Dale. Now a one-touch pass gets it out to Stevens at the far side. That's Skinner winding and firing. Finds the stick of an enforcer, but it goes off of the end boards. Fighting for it behind the end line is Tucker. Out to kill the penalty for the Hat-Tricks is Bronner, Shinkarik, Atwell, and Brown. As Bronner trying to force it out of the zone cannot. Here's Skinner fielding it in his skates. Now with a wrist shot. That's off the paddle of the stick of Nick Nieder. Lively bounce off the glass goes into the far side corner. Atwell is the first to retrieve for the Hat-Tricks, and he'll send it down the length of the ice. And a roar of approval from the Danbury Hat-Tricks faithful.
Great clear by Aaron Atwell. You usually don't want to go up the middle of the ice, but Elmira had vacated that area, and Atwell's able to send it down with authority.
Halfway through this power play, as here's Dale. Has a fellow number 9 in front of him in Gordy Bennell. Gets it up the right wing intended for Tucker. He's met by Levesque. Tucker has Patterson maneuvering his way towards the net. That shot is fought off by Nieder. Here's Skinner to the far side corner. Patterson gets it out once more to Skinner, crossing the way. Dale, quick passing down low, gets it to Clark. Tucker setting up between the hash marks. Here's Dale with Bennell in front of him. Long shot. That one caught the blocker of Nieder and goes up into the netting with 37 seconds to go in the power play. 7:40 to go in the period.
Yeah, that's good traffic again. Elmira worked that puck back up to the point, and Dale, who's kind of that point man, takes that shot and rips it on home, and he's looking for the deflection from Patterson, who's such a big frame in front of Nieder. That's a recipe for success there as well, and Patterson just couldn't get to it. Nieder fights through the traffic.
The shots that are coming from Dion, though, they're up high. They're not exactly low shots that are easy to be deflected.
Shot blocked in front and almost trying to generate a rush was Shinkarik, as both Shinkarik and Bennell were up towards the blue line trying to force it out. 30 seconds to go in the power play. Here's Patterson. Gets it to Clark at the circle. Now to the high slot Dale. This unit has been out there for the entire power play for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. For the Elmira Enforcers. Patterson out to Skinner. Working behind the end line. 10 seconds to go in the power play. Pops up into the air, gloving it down is Shinkarik, doing battle with Clark along the near side midboards. Escaping is Tucker, has it on his backhand. Tuma checking him from behind. Final seconds of the power play. We're back to even strength. Elmira Enforcers now officially 0 for 2 on the man advantage so far in the contest. Both sides 0 for 2. Looking towards the net, that one is kicked out by Nieder. Behind the end line, Skinner set up in front. No one was there. Patterson will one-hand it over to Dale, who takes a step in. An extended shift for this Enforcer squad. And now with the save by Nieder, we have reached the media timeout, and it comes later than usual here at the 6:45 mark.
And that's a big break for the Hat-Tricks, too, because they were playing on that four-man disadvantage for a little bit longer, because as soon as Kenny Garrett came out of the box, it took him a second to decide, should I jump into the play? Should I go back to the bench? And it just took an extra 10 or 12 seconds before Corey Anderson could jump in there, and that's why Elmira had that consistent attack.
But that should never be a question. When the puck's in the defensive zone, you're coming out of the box, you get yourself to the defensive zone. Because, again, you run into that situation, Jack, like you just highlighted, because Garrett, he takes a couple steps towards the defensive zone, then decides to skate over to the bench. Well, it's still a man advantage for Elmira down low. And moreover, the Danbury bench, I don't think they were exactly expecting Garrett to come on over, because you saw some guys looking around. Eventually, Corey Anderson gets out onto the ice, and the Hat-Tricks are able to get a whistle. But, yeah, you got to be aware when you're in the penalty box and the puck's in the defensive zone, you're going to the defensive zone. Get the puck out, then get on over to the bench.
So while we have a media timeout, we want to remind you to follow the Danbury Hat-Tricks at Danbury Hat-Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive highlights, interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and more. And be sure to join our mailing list at danburyhattricks.com. As we're getting set for action to resume in the offensive zone for the Elmira Enforcers, seeking to reclaim their lead. As here's Casper Dearson, the goal scorer for the Hat-Tricks, forwarding it ahead for Anderson. Anderson and Dearson out there on the same line together, former Manhattanville Valiants teammates. Anderson is brought down, gets it out to Dearson, pitch, backhander, that one's kicked out by Stiliadis.
Yeah, Dearson just didn't get enough on that shot. It's a tough shot there, but again, it's this line that's proving the effort. Levesque's out there, but Gavrik and Dearson, those extra effort plays are going to matter in a game that's this tight.
Here's Gavrik trying to enter in on the near side, forcing his way past Yarwood. Yarwood with a good job to close him out.
Yeah, it's a great seal-off. That's just a puck possession play in which Yarwood takes the body there, and he knows the puck's going back to the black and green.
Yeah, you're so used to seeing the black jerseys being adorned with orange trim.
Yes.
It's weird seeing another team wear black here at Danbury Arena.
It is. I walked in and I said, uh-oh, we're playing the wrong building right now?
Don't you hate when you show up and you're wearing the same outfit as someone else?
Yeah.
Casey, you and I were talking earlier about Port Huron. For those of you listening who weren't aware of what happened, Port Huron made a trip to Danville. Their uniforms did not. So they ended up wearing Dashers, they ended up wearing their practice jerseys, and they had to wear the socks that were worn by the Danville Dashers on a throwback night.
I hope they washed them.
Well, you never know. It was also very strange seeing Port Huron in blue and black socks.
Especially with red jerseys. That's just an amalgam of wrong. Dion Dale is able to backhand it out towards Tucker, and a 2-on-1 rush if they hurry. Tucker in with Dale. Tucker squares to the net, and that's kicked out by Nieder and goes out of play. Good save by Nieder there on the rush.
And he's been active with that blocker all night long. He's so quick to get down into the butterfly and fight that one off with the right hand. Very nice save by Nick Nieder.
And he had to fight that one off. His moment, he started cheating over towards his glove side as he was anticipating a pass. Instead, the puck gets wired towards the back of the net, and he's able to punch it away.
Kenny Garrett will be back out on the defensive pairing with Brett Menton. Second line out for the Hat-Tricks in Bunnell, Mealy, and Kasich. Winning the puck away are the Elmira Enforcers. Looking for the setup in front, Stevens was there, but unable to maneuver it towards him was Willie Daigneault. Stevens trying to kick it out. Good job by Daigneault to shield the puck away with his lower body using his hip strength. Menton sends his footsteps and sends it out into the neutral zone. Patterson trying to evade the forecheck of Kasich. Stevens will lift it up into the air, and it will bounce towards the end line, and Menton will hold once more. Menton gets it over to his defensive partner, Garrett, who will kiss it off the glass and out into the neutral zone. Mealy will retreat, trying to find some sort of safe haven from this aggressive Elmira forecheck, as there's Mealy trying to get around him and can't. Stevens enters in with Skinner, wires it down low to Skinner, backhander, saved by Nieder! He got a piece of it with the knob of his stick, and now here come the Hat-Tricks in transition. Mealy on the right wing, with Bunnell lurking on the near side post. It's intercepted by Stevens. Pinching in, keeping it in is Menton. Pops up into the air, and pursuing is Matthias Kasich. Thinks about throwing a check on Horvath. Horvath able to spin away. Bunnell feeds Gavrik in his skates. Can't get it cleanly. Now once more to Bunnell. Back to Gavrik. Gavrik squares to the net. That one's redirected wide. Holding the blue line is Aaron Atwell as the Hat-Tricks trying to get a change. Bouncing puck, rolling away from Gavrik, and Skinner's able to poke it out into the neutral zone. What a helter-skelter sequence of events, as here's Anderson once more. We're not done yet. Dearson entering in on the right wing. Long shot is easily steered aside. Here's Atwell once more trying wide. Playing the cycle game as Gavrik, his stick got caught up in the netting. Hiccuped his skating stride. Anderson evades the check of Clark. Sends it to another area, far side corner. The Hat-Tricks are trying to grind them down and take away their legs as that one goes up into the netting, and they're able to get a reprieve with 3:29 to go in the second.
That turnaround shot by Corey Anderson from the point, that's the third time on that shift that Danbury just kind of tried to throw it towards the front of the net. None of them were on goal, but at the very least, it kept the puck in the offensive zone. And Helter Skelter's right, Casey. That was certainly a very interesting last few minutes.
And it's a makeup play because Nick Nieder bailed out his entire team on the back end of things to the right side of your screen, makes that huge save again with the right pad. You mentioned it, Casey. He might have gotten that stick knob right on top of that puck. And then the Hat-Tricks were able to come away with a good couple of almost 2 minutes in the attacking zone there. A good shift.
But now here comes Tracy trying to split the defense. A good back check by Thomas Freeman knocks him off the puck as Freeman went sprawling. 3:15 remaining in the second period. We're tied up at 1. You're watching Danbury Hat Tricks Hockey on the Hat Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara and Zach McGinnis. Here's Levesque. Has Yarwood to beat. Gets it behind him. Shinkarik fielding the puck behind the end line. He's being harassed from behind by Dale. Levesque to Shinkarik. Has his back to the net. Sends it to Freeman, who will wire it once more down low to Levesque. Not a whole lot of open space as Levesque tries to send it to an area, but it was all green there in front of the net. The Enforcers doing a great job of blocking off their net front.
They're doing a great job of that, but at the same time, Danbury's not doing themselves any favors. On that last opportunity, Levesque had the puck in the corner. He was starting to cycle towards the front of the net. Phil Bronner instead actually went behind the net, looking to keep that cycle going. Levesque was looking for the pass.
Stretch pass, and there's another miscommunication between Bunnell and Mealy, as that's been happening lately, and why not? Because Mealy is normally on the blue line for the Danbury Hat Tricks. He's sort of played every position they've asked him to.
Let's see him in net.
He's like Jose Oquendo. He plays every position as that sharp angled try by Steve Mealy goes off of the shoulder of Stiliadis. Taking a swing and missing was Matthias Kasich. It's still bouncing out in the neutral zone. Trying to settle it down is Hudson Michaelis, and finally he's able to get it over to his defensive man, Dominic Horvath. Horvath, a long stretch pass intended for Tucker, out of his reach. Nieder will paddle it out into the neutral zone. Anderson takes a swing. And just some back and forth, not tape-to-tape action here so far between Danbury and Elmira as they're trying to get things settled down on each side. Stevens tries to split the defense. He's forced wide by Anderson. Anderson and Brown tag team him in the corner. And Stevens is hurting. Stevens, it looked like, took an elbow to his shoulder or his neck, and he's coming over, hunched over. He's hurt. No whistle. Play goes on. Here's Dearson. Back pass to Gavrick. Spinorama pass intended for Anderson. Goes off his skates. And now back the other way come the Enforcers. Skinner was lurking at the blue line. Skinner squares to the net. That one stopped by Nieder.
Oh, nice solid save by Nick Nieder. And the 1,000 plus, maybe even 2,000 folks here at the Danbury Arena showing their approval. But now finally getting his way back to the bench was Kyle Stevens. And Casey, you were right. He took a shot up high. It went undetected by the referees. And then going back the other way, Stevens falls down and basically goes into a full scorpion as he's sliding on his chest with his skates over his head. Not exactly the most comfortable of positions.
And guys, a couple of times now, Stevens has been sent on in the attacking zone, and he's been put up against Marty Tuma, who's not the fastest guy. He's known for his physicality. But Stevens, who's a much quicker guy on skates, just gets by him once again, and Nick Nieder makes another strong save to keep this even.
Bronner fields the puck, slides it to Levesque, back pass to Bronner. His shot goes wide. Rebound goes off the side of Stiliadis. Stiliadis was slow to get back to his net mouth.
He wasn't expecting that one to come out. Carter Shinkarik was.
Shinkarik wired a backhander. If Stiliadis doesn't get his backside in front of it, that one's going in. More of a happenstance than a purposeful save by Stiliadis as we approach the final 20 seconds, entering in offsides were the Elmira Enforcers.
Well, for goaltender Michael Stiliadis, sometimes it's better be lucky than good. But he's been pretty good so far in this game. He's stopped 28 of 29 shots. And again, we were talking about Nick Nieder's rebound control. I think Stiliadis has done an even better job. Nothing is coming out into the slot.
You are right in that he's been able to control everything so great. I mean, that is the mark of a true skilled goalie, is that not only being able to stop the puck, but being able to send it where you want to send it, whether it be in the corner or in your own padding, as Bunnell with a sharp angle try goes up into the netting. And we'll get a stoppage with 9.8 to go in the second period. We're still tied at 1, and one last chance here for the Danbury Hat Tricks to perhaps pull ahead in the waning moments.
Now, the positive thing for this period for Danbury is even when they were down and it looked like they still had the momentum, obviously the shots on goal, then they found a way to get a gritty goal. They had an effort play, and
that one goes off the side of the net. Anderson with a behind the end line try goes off the netting. Bouncing puck out in front is taken away by Tucker, and that will do it. Once more, we find ourselves deadlocked at the end of the period. It's 1-1 as a pair of goals scored by Skinner and by Dearson where the story in the second period, back and forth chances, guys. The Hat-Tricks still lead in the shots on goal advantage 30-21, but really the true mark of is not so much the quantity but the quality. Both sides have gotten really prime chances here in the second period.
Yeah, much more so than in the first, and that's why we actually see goals go in, because they had a couple of odd man rushes. Even Elmira, I would say 3 or 4 chances that have just been shut down by Nick Nieder on odd man rushes. That's important for them moving forward, considering they would like to take this game away from a red-hot Danbury side that's won 12 of their last 13.
They've won 12 of the last 13, and keep in mind, Elmira, they're chasing Danbury in the standings. And the Enforcers, it's not lost on them that the Hat-Tricks have won 4 of the 5 meetings that they've had so far this season. So Elmira certainly would love to come here to Danbury and send these fans home sad for the end of 2019. But again, we've got 20 minutes of action remaining at least. It's been a pretty even game. You've certainly seen the physical aspect of the game, but if I'm the Danbury Hat-Tricks, I'm getting on the defense. Keep your head on a swivel. Take a look behind you. We see Elmira constantly with these home run passes, and Jack, some of them are connecting.
They are. I mean, a couple times Stevens has been right there. We saw that one play who came all the way across. Brandon Tucker made an unbelievable shot after the sky hook pass that just kind of dropped in the breadbasket there. Those are the plays that have been the extra points for Elmira, the points where the defense is almost breaking down a little bit for Danbury, and they're getting those chances. If they keep going to that, eventually Nick Nieder's not going to be able to stop everything that's thrown at him in those high-percentage opportunities.
We've reached the second intermission here at Danbury Arena. We'll be back for live coverage of the Danbury Hat-Tricks against the Elmira Enforcers. You're watching Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Casey Bryant alongside Jack O'Mara and Zach McGinnis. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for live coverage of the Danbury Hat-Tricks as they take on the Elmira Enforcers. We're tied at 1 here at Danbury Arena, but before we get going with the final frame, it's time for the FPHL out-of-town scoreboard. Here's Zach McGinnis.
Thanks, Casey. They have gone final down in Carolina. The Rumblebees falling 4-0 to the Carolina Thunderbirds. But how about goaltender Jacob Mullen? He stopped 74 of 78 shots that he saw in that game. You lose 4-0, you go away with a save percentage of about 95%.
That's street hockey numbers.
They're not good numbers, that's for certain. Down in Georgia, the Columbus River Dragons, a 2-1 victory over the Danville Dashers in a shootout as Columbus works their way up the FPHL standings. Meanwhile, out in Ohio, the Port Huron Prowlers defeat the Mentor Icebreakers by a 3-2 decision. Down in Delaware, the Watertown Wolves skate away with a 5-1 victory over the Delaware Thunder. And right here in Danbury, we are tied at 1. Casey, Jack, an exciting 20 minutes of hockey about to happen.
And we haven't seen a tight-winded game like this in quite some time here, and it's crucial in the last 20 minutes because you have to be sharp in every aspect of the game. And for Danbury, they still have the edge in the shots on goal. They were caught a little bit flat in that second period. I think whatever team comes out firing, just these first few minutes are going to be so crucial, I think, leading forward the next 20.
Well, you said we're not used to seeing these sort of knockdown, drag-out games. Not in this nature, anyway. Ordinarily, when it's these back-and-forth games, we're used to seeing 5-4 finals, 6-5 finals, never 1-1 at this level. It's a high-scoring league in general, but two high-scoring teams. The Danbury Hat-Tricks rank as one of the best offensive teams in the FPHL. So to see them really held to just one goal is surprising. So what will they need to do in the third period here, Zach, to find the back of the net and put the biscuit in the basket?
Well, I like the physical play, especially led by Corey Anderson. If they can do a good job of taking the body, separating the enforcers from the puck, again, they're getting the shots on goal. Michael Stiliadis has played fantastically right now. You just got to keep on peppering him because in the goal that we saw with Casper Dierson, not the prettiest of plays, but he just tosses it on goal, finds the back of the net. Meanwhile, if you're Elmira, that home run pass, it's working for them right now. They got their goal that way. They've had, Jack, we spoke about it towards the end of the second period. They've had some great opportunities off that home run pass as well.
Yeah, you got to keep firing it in there, I think, for them. If they look for that counter, continue to create traffic in front of the net, it's good traffic for them in their own defensive zone because they're limiting those rebound opportunities, and those quick outlets on the counter have been so crucial for Elmira. Got to be sharp at the back if you're Danbury. You got to watch that. The fly patterns work well.
Another thing of note here, guys, is that there haven't been too many penalties so far in this game either. Both sides getting 2 power play opportunities, especially for a team like the Elmira Enforcers, who are no strangers to the penalty box. That's surprising to only see each team get 2 aside. We are heading into the third. Anything can happen in the third.
Nope.
Anything can happen, but again, Elmira, they're playing a disciplined game. I think perhaps having Ahmed Mahfouz not in the lineup tonight, Mahfouz, he's usually good for a few points, but he's usually good for a couple penalties as well.
That is true. That is the give and take. But Mahfouz is sorely missed from this Elmira lineup, as he would be from any roster, as Ahmed Mahfouz is by far the best player, statistically speaking, in FPHL history.
Yeah, he's played about 350 games or so. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but he's played about 350 games. He has over 780 points. He averages more than 2 points in every game that he plays.
So any loss like that is certainly felt, and Aaron Atwell goes into the corner and gets decked by Willie Daigneault. And Daigneault will get a how do you do from Steve Brown, as Aaron Atwell still has not gotten up. And oh boy, this doesn't look good as they're motioning now for the trainer.
Yeah, Atwell went down very awkwardly into the boards. It looks like, or rather at least on first inspection, it looked like he went in either shoulder first. I don't want to say it was head first, but he is down trainer Lee Day will come out and take a look at him. And Steve Brown, as much as he wants to drop the gloves there and have his way with Danielle, he's disciplined. He knows what kind of game it is. We're tied at 1. If he goes after Danielle, he takes away a power play opportunity for the Danbury Hat-Tricks.
And plus, I think that Danielle very clearly voiced that his apologies to Steve Brown. It certainly seemed like Danielle was like, it was an accident. I don't want to fight. I don't want any part of this. It was not an intentionally dirty hit.
But dirty it was. And my question is now, the referees, they're talking, you see them on your screens at home. What kind of penalty is going to come out of this as Aaron Atwell's back up to his feet?
That is true. As they are escorting Danielle, he is sitting in the penalty box right now. We'll see whether it be a 2-minute minor or a 5-minute major for boarding. It has not yet been announced over the scoreboard. But nevertheless, it will be a power play for the Danbury Hat-Tricks and a prime opportunity to take the lead, which they have not held at all this evening.
Yeah, and especially if this is going to be an extra time, longer than 2-minute power play it is. It's going to be 5-minute major. So this is a great opportunity here for the Hat-Tricks. They have the advantage for the full 5 minutes. Score as much as you want, as much as you can. Get the power play juices flowing once again and try to get yourselves a lead in this game.
It will be Shinkarik out with Anderson, Bronner, Levesque, and Mealy. So 5 forwards by trade now back out on the power play.
And remember, Casey, Atwell was quarterbacking that first power play unit earlier this game.
That's true. So he is being replaced by Mealy as Mealy's saucer pass goes past Nicola Levesque. It will be Stevens, Hussey, Patterson, and Dion completing the 4-man penalty kill unit, and they will have a long, long test ahead of them. 4 minutes, 45 seconds of major power play time for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. The Hat-Tricks had a couple of late 5-on-3s in Mentor and were unable to convert. And another late power play chance here as Anderson's shot is saved. A stuff-in try by Bronner is stopped, held by Stiliadis. From his belly, he was able to hug that near side post.
Good job by Bronner to get out of the way of that shot. He not only takes away the eyes of Stiliadis, but he's right there on the doorstep for the rebound.
And you have to give credit for Glenn Patterson there. He was the man who's essentially boxing out Phil Bronner from getting in on that rebound and trying to make something happen. That's a good sign. Aaron Atwell back on the ice.
Atwell not missing a shift. Back out on the power play unit. He gets brought down from behind. There is no, there is. Atwell draws another penalty. So it will be a 5-on-3 for the Danbury Hat-Tricks for 2 minutes. And then still major penalty time after that, as it will be Brendan Hussey visiting the penalty box.
I can only imagine what the Elmira fans are thinking to themselves at home. They have enough issues with the referees as it is, but these are certainly, they're good calls. There's not much to complain about here. And now the Danbury Hat-Tricks, this is the opportunity. This is the chance that they have. They have a 5-on-3. Casey, you brought up the 5-on-3s they had against Mentor where they weren't able to convert, missing Johnny Ruiz, missing Corey Anderson. Well, Ruiz, he's still down in the SPHL. That hasn't changed. Corey Anderson lines up as the right winger.
It will be the same unit out for the Hat-Tricks. Shinkarik, Anderson, Bronner, Levesque, and Atwell. It is Stevens getting the boot from the faceoff dot. He will be replaced by Glenn Patterson. 2 minutes of 5-on-3 time. Anderson, and just as we mentioned, a late 5-on-3 opportunity in Mentor went unconverted. Here the Hat-Tricks go, trying to correct their history. Levesque gets it out to Shinkarik. Now Atwell slides over to his left, switches places with Shinkarik. Shinkarik looking for the backdoor pass to Levesque, takes a swing at it, puck pops out of the zone. As a Let's Go Hat-Tricks chant erupts from the Danbury faithful. Turning around with it and looking up ice is Shinkarik. Shinkarik enters the center of the blue line, gets around Dion. Shinkarik looks to the net and shanks it just wide. Levesque holds it at the near side point, has Atwell to his left, Anderson to his right. He glides to the slot, dishes it to Shinkarik at the far side circle. Shinkarik has a man in front of him in Tucker. Now here's Levesque at the far side circle with a square look to the net. His pass across the way intended for Atwell is broken up by an enforcer stick. Minute 5 to go on the 5-on-3. Here's Shinkarik, pitch and catch with Atwell. Looking for the backdoor pass to Levesque, just behind him, unable to get a shot off. Now out to Atwell, down low to Anderson, his shot! He scores! Corey Anderson, 2-1 Hat-Tricks!
Hat-Tricks not taking many shots with the 5-on-3, but it works out. Finally, they're able to get the puck down low to Corey Anderson, and he sneaks it underneath Michael Stiliadis, and that's the kind of goal that the Danbury Hat-Tricks needed.
Yeah, it was a dirty one, and if you want to break this long drought for the Hat-Tricks, it's got to be Corey Anderson. I mean, he's one of the best guys on the power play for the team this season. Overall, he's had 21 points moving in. He had 2 power play goals up to this point in the season. Now he's up to 3. That's the second highest on the team, and the highest now that Johnny Ruiz is gone. He's been highly productive. He had, a point in every game when the Hat-Tricks had that 11-game win streak. He had a point in every single game, and now he cashes in to take the lead.
Which means that now it is still a 12-game point streak for Corey Anderson. He missed the last 2 games, and welcome back to the lineup, Corey Anderson.
That's a good point, Casey. He did miss the last 2 games for personal reasons as the Tricks made the trip out to Mentor and then Elmira yesterday.
And it will be Atwell and Levesque as Levesque gets the secondary helper on the play, and it extends Nikola Levesque's point streak as Stiliadis pounces on the puck at the far side post. It extends Nikola Levesque's point streak to 7 games. He now has 11 points in his last 7.
He doesn't even look like he's a huge impact player. Obviously he is, but he's quietly got those 11 points over 7 games. He's been the quiet factor. He's just under the radar so good for this team.
You know what it is that it's not even so much that he's under the radar. It's just that he's so consistently good that it gets taken for granted, really, the elite play, because Levesque is a career point-per-game player at the FPHL level. 2 minutes, 33 seconds remain in the major penalty to the Elmira Enforcers. A chance to provide some cushioning for the Danbury Hat-Tricks as they leave out their top unit. Shinkarik, Anderson, Bronner, Levesque, and Atwell. Shinkarik removed from the faceoff dot, replaced by Anderson. Anderson wins it back to Levesque. Has Atwell at the near side point. Atwell with a weak pass over to Levesque. Levesque has trouble fielding it. And now a chance here for Tucker. A shorthanded 2-on-1. Tucker over to Michaelis with a clear look on Nieder. His shot, kick save by Nieder. But a delayed penalty.
Could be a penalty shot. We'll see.
Shinkarik will touch up the puck, as it will be a hooking call going against the Hat-Tricks as Michaelis was breaking him past the defense, caught a stick in the midsection, and that will negate the next 2 minutes of the 2:13 remaining in the major penalty.
Jack, I don't want to disagree with you that absolutely could have been called a penalty shot. But again, Danbury taking too long along the blue line. Aaron Atwell has to come back. He plays that 2-on-1 as best that he can, and he takes the penalty. Quite frankly, though, I don't mind that penalty. You give up a goal there, especially a short-handed goal, that saps all the momentum you have. Instead, we'll skate 4-on-4 for a full 2 minutes, assuming that there are no other penalties, and then Danbury will only have 13 seconds remaining on that major.
So now a lot of open space. We'll see how the creativity treats each side, as Skinner is out there with Yarwood, Dion, and Stevens as the 4-man unit for the Enforcers, countered by Gavrik, Bunnell, Tuma, and Thomas Freeman, as Freeman poke checks the puck away, and a long shot goes over the cage of Nick Nieder. Bunnell holds by his own bench, looking across the way. Crosses red line, blue line, enters into the zone with the puck on his backhand. Is checked from behind by Skinner. Yarwood also there. Bunnell trying to send it out to the near side point to Freeman. Freeman with a sharp angle try that goes off the padding. That was a good shot there by Thomas Freeman. It didn't look like he had much of an angle. Here's Gavrik now cutting across the end line. Gavrik has it on his backhand. Thinks about feeding Dearson for the one-timer. Now here's Dearson looking for the stuffing on the near side post. Almost caught Stiliadis off guard. Here's Skinner in transition, looking to get past Tuma. He does. Skinner to the net, stacking the pads and getting a glove on it is Nick Nieder.
Casey, at the beginning of the game, we spoke about how Nick Nieder, it's a bit of an older school style goaltender. You see it right there. You don't see the double pad stack too often, but Nieder does a great job making sure everything's shut down on that side.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, after missing as much time as Nick Nieder did in the various scenarios, just kind of sitting on the bench for this side, backing up Tom McGuckin. And the fact that he's 37, he does not look like that. I mean, he's got some movement back there in the blue paint.
Well, we're seeing an agile Nick Nieder. As the puck is taken away, here's Michaelis, feeds Patterson at the near side point, has Dearson in front of him, gets it behind the end line. Here's Tucker, checked from behind by Steve Mealy. Mealy Looking to get it up the right wing to Dearson, trying to escape the zone. Patterson holds it in. Here's Tucker turning around, firing a shot that goes wide. Here's Anderson corralling it with 20 seconds to go in the 4-on-4 before another 13 seconds of a Hat-Tricks power play elapses.
I know it's a 4-on-4, but it really just seemed like an Elmira power play there.
A bouncing puck goes off the path of Stiliadis and gets steered into the near side corner. 10 seconds to go in the 4-on-4. Michaelis has Levesque in front of him, spins away from him, trying to get it over to the right wing. It's broken up. Patterson has it knocked away from him by Shinkarik. It's time for a power play briefly for the Danbury Hat-Tricks before we're back to even strength. Calling for it as Levesque wants it. Bronner was also in front. Bronner will field. That'll bring us back to 5-on-5. As they're having trouble with the penalty box doors, and so Daigneault was slow to rejoin the action. Shinkarik now in the neutral zone. Has Daigneault out there on the forecheck. A one-touch pass, and in comes Bronner. Center of the slot, drops it back to Gaffrick. Gaffrick looking to the right wing. Bronner gets it out in front to Levesque, and it goes off of his skates wide of the net.
I know that Levesque is right there and on the doorstep, but I think Phil Bronner needs to take that shot, guys.
6 minutes and 20 seconds gone by in the third period. The Hat-Tricks protecting a 2-1 lead, thanks to a power play goal by Corey Anderson. Gaffrick picks off the puck. He's got a 3-on-2 if he hurries. Gaffrick drops it back to Bonnell. Looking down low for Kasich. His shot hit. That's stopped by Stiliadis. He went between his legs on the shooting attempt.
Oh, he went between his legs. I don't know if he had to get that fancy on things. But, Jack, you and I both had the same reaction there as Kasich trying for the highlight reel goal.
Holy cow, he went between his legs.
Looking for the Tomas Hurdle move.
But, you know, Kasich, he's a bigger guy. I think if he stretches out with that backhand, he can tuck it around the pad of Stiliadis. But just didn't happen that time.
So now here comes Clark with a weak pass that's broken up by Kasich, and they will rule it offsides for the Elmira Enforcers. And we'll get a stoppage. 6 minutes, 45 seconds gone by here in the final frame. You're watching Danbury Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Be sure to follow the Hat-Tricks at Danbury Hat-Tricks on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for exclusive live content all season long. As the Hat-Tricks looking to close out 2019 in style. Close out the decade in style, really. A decade of which the Hat-Tricks have only been a part of for a couple of months, but Danbury hockey has really been a key part of the FPHL in the 2010s as the Danbury Whalers took shape in 2010, Danbury Titans in 2015. So Danbury hockey has really played a big part in this decade for the FPHL, and this being the first year of the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Entering in is Clark on the right side. Stops short with Steve Brown in front of him. Looking across the way, it deflects off the stick of Dearson and out towards the blue line. They will deem it onside still. Oh, no, off, excuse me, as the Enforcers will go off for a change.
In case you talk about Danbury and Federal Hockey League history, you know, the Danbury Whalers, they were one of the original teams in the Federal Hockey League, and, well, they had 5 years here. The Danbury Titans were here for 2 years after that, and then really the lights went dark here in Danbury for a while, but especially you take a look around the arena tonight, and, Jack, you know, I know how involved you are with ticketing. The fans, this is a hockey town. They've come back.
They've embraced it. They really have ever since the announcement of the organization, and the support has been there since day one, and it's going to continue to grow and grow, guys. I know we're hitting the winter break here, so a lot more people have some time off, and it's going to be an eye-opener for the first-timers here tonight how exciting these games can be, and it has been a really, really good start to this franchise, not only with the support, but the success on the ice.
Oh, well, how can you ask for something better than setting a Danbury pro hockey record in your first season? 11 straight wins, and you've bested a decade plus of hockey, going back to the Trashers in the days of the UHL. Face-off is won back to Marty Tuma. His long shot is blocked out in front. A rebound by Shinkarik. That one's blocked in front. Another try by Levesque gets deflected up into the netting, and will do it again from the Enforcers zone.
Well, they haven't broken from that strategy. Just get as many green bodies in front of the net as possible. That's 2 or 3 shots right there that just get stifled by the defenders in front of the net. Face-off
once more will be to the right of the netminder Stiliadis. as a deliberate change here for Elmira. Gets a good razzing from the Danbury faithful seated right behind the Elmira bench. Shenkarik out to take the draw. Stevens is once more booted. Stevens been removed from the faceoff dot a couple of times here this evening. I don't know what he said or did, but he's certainly not a friend of the fellows in stripes. As Freeman shields the puck away from a Danielle check. Here's Tuma playing catch over with Thomas Freeman. Bronner will tip it into the zone to prevent the icing as 8 minutes, 30 seconds gone by here in the third period. Behind the end line it goes. Bronner out to Shenkarik, has Brown in the high slot, taking a step in. Wrist shot is headed wide, but snagged out of the air regardless by Stiliadis.
Now, in a tight game like this, you do not want to take those chances. Steve Brown, who's had a couple of those shots come in from the blue line. He had a goal last night as well. Just rip it from the blue line. Try to have a tip in front.
And Casey, you were talking about the UHL days. You know, the Danbury Trashers, they were only here for a couple seasons, but they certainly developed quite the rivalry with the Elmira Jackals back then. It's these two cities quite familiar with each other, and really no love lost between the two.
Even though they are two relatively new franchises, as Elmira only came to be last year in the FPHL. As the hard check is now here's Aaron Atwell handing out some punishment to Daigneault, so roles reversed in that same spot. Danbury Hat-Trick's end line. Tucker takes a check from Brown, a shot in front, they score! Daigneault gets his revenge by potting one. It's tied at 2.
And it's the first goal of the season for Willie Daigneault. And I think that one might have caught Nick Niedert by surprise. It's from a bad angle, and it looks like it caught a piece of the glove of Niedert, but finds its way to the back of the net. The enforcers have responded, and with 11 minutes left, we've got ourselves a new hockey game.
Yeah, you're right, Zach. Niedert was not expecting that shot. It just kind of sneaks in, and you saw right away Yarwood went right into the net to pick up that puck. It is the first goal. Congratulations for Daigneault, who spent some time in the penalty box, had some time to think about his high hit, and then came back out and redeemed himself by tying things back up.
Well, first goal you mentioned, and first point as well on the season. So we are back to even at 2 here in the Danbury Arena as a back and forth contest as we came to expect, really. This was the Eastern Division. Even though Elmira happens to sit 4th in the division, it is so tight in the East that Elmira could leapfrog a couple of different teams with a couple of wins, including one here tonight.
Yeah, you know, you take a look at the standings. Elmira only trails the Watertown Wolves officially by 2 points. Now, Watertown does have a game in hand, so that's what puts them in second, and Elmira in 4th. And then you have the Mentor Icebreakers, who, again, have a game over everybody. They're right in the middle of that as well.
Things change on a dime, especially with that 3-point swing in the FPHL. We mentioned it a couple of times throughout the season, but when you are able to gain 3 points with a regulation win, you're able to make up so much ground. It's why even Delaware, even though Delaware got off to a 2-11 start to start the season, they're not out of it by any means. They've rattled off a couple of big wins.
And you keep rattling those wins off. A couple guys drop, a couple victories. Even winning in overtime is not going to get that job done. That extra point is so crucial, and that's why you look at the next 10 minutes in this game and say, hey, if one of these teams can win in regulation, I should say, that's huge for them in the standings purposes. It goes to overtime. That changes things a little bit.
Sharp angle try is fought off with the shoulder of Nick Niedert. And here's Phil Bronner with a quick exit pass intended for Levesque. Levesque will backhand it into the Elmira zone with 9:50 to go in regulation time. Picking it up and looking up ice is Tom Tracy. He gets it over to Brendan Hussey. They enter in offsides as Yanni Skropolis was too far ahead of the play. And that will bring us to the media timeout here at Danbury Arena. With 9:41 remaining in the first period, you're watching Hat-Tricks Hockey on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. Be sure to tune in on Thursday, January 9th, as the Danbury Hat-Tricks are back home, taking on the Watertown Wolves. And also be sure to be on the lookout, guys, for the January 3rd and 4th set out in Bloomington, Illinois, as a neutral site game played between the Hat-Tricks and Carolina Thunderbirds. That's a nice little tease for the folks out in Bloomington.
Well, 2 of the best teams, and really the first place teams, will be facing off for a pair of games at a Grossinger Motors Arena. It's due to become the biggest arena in the Federal Hockey League at seating 7,000 people, and Jack, you and I, we've spoken about expansion in this league before. It's always good to see the league growing the way it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this year was such a ginormous step for the league, the addition to up to 10 teams now. And then you're looking forward for this. Moving forward, there's already talk of more towns to be expanded to, and that's the biggest thing is growth. And you look at all the leagues and where they start, and the fact that you continue to grow like this is such a positive thing for the league's future.
There are plenty of cities that are kind of murmured about when it comes to expansion. There's always the threat of a Jersey team perhaps popping back up after the New Jersey Outlaws came and went. Mealy enters in on the blue line, feeds Bunnell, his shot saved, and a rebound try. Kasich goes barreling into the net, past Stiliadis. So no chance at a rebound there. Skropoulos back the other way, shot, and another juicy rebound out in front of Niedert is cleared aside. The New Jersey Outlaws, to finish the thought from before, is where head coach Billy McCreary won his FPHL championship.
Yeah, I believe that was a championship series over the Brooklyn Aviators.
That is true, yeah. McCreary, a champion of both the FP and the SPHL, one of the most acclaimed players, since he is technically still on the roster, in the FPHL. Out to Tracy at the red line, trying to maneuver past him is Bunnell, but he's stripped by Tracy. Tracy enters with 4 hat-trick sweaters surrounding him. Atwell will cut him off to the puck. Gets it over to Freeman. 8:35 to go in regulation time as a wonky bounce off the boards, pops past Kasich, and now out towards Anderson. Anderson squares to the net. His wrist shot goes off the defensive stick of Dion and will go up into the netting, and we'll get a stop with 8:27 to go.
I like the shot by Corey Anderson there. His teammates are in the middle of a change, so he wants to get something on goal. He's looking for a whistle there. He's not exactly looking to bury that puck in the back of the net. I mean, granted, he is Corey Anderson, so he's always looking to find the back of the net, but he's able to get the whistle. He gets an offensive zone faceoff. In Danbury's offense, they need something to get going. They have 40 shots on goal right now, but these last few minutes, it feels like it's been all Elmira.
Freeman with a one-time shot, redirected off the pipe! It hit off of the legs of Corey Anderson. Right place, right time for Anderson, but couldn't get it past him. Freeman mishandles the puck, and the hat-tricks will have to re-rack. And that's a momentum killer for Freeman and the hat-tricks, but back in they come as Dearson dumps it in deep. And that negates what was an eventful shift for the hat-tricks, as they were able to get a shot that found the post.
Yeah, they had the full setup, too. You know, if Freeman gets that puck, he's got Shinkarik on the wing. He's got other options.
Oh, boy, bouncing out in front, and they score! Carter Shinkarik pots one in the empty net. The boards get the primary assist. It's 3-2.
Michael Stiliadis is going to have nightmares over that. It's an easy dump in, and then it catches something on the board. Stiliadis was going behind the net to settle it down. Instead, he sees it pop right into the slot. Carter Shinkarik, as fast and as much of a puck hawk that he's been so far today, he has an empty net goal. He just puts it into the 4x6. Boy, not the way Danbury drew it up, but they'll take him any way they can.
Well, you mentioned earlier, I believe it was you who said you'd rather be lucky than good sometimes. Well, Lady Luck is a fickle mistress, and Michael Stiliadis, shades of Marc-Andre Fleury vacating his net and unable to track the puck. Levesque will get an assist on the play. I believe it was a dump in from Levesque. I would have to be double-checking the stat sheet to be 100% sure. Nevertheless, what a freakish turn of events. How do you know when you've got the bounces going for you and things seem to be going your way? Well, when the glass gives you the primary assist on a goal.
Oof. Yeah, and you know, guys, we've seen that corner certainly offer some things up during the season. That's the first time we've seen it result in a goal.
Oh, it was only a matter of time, as a bouncing puck at the far side post is turned aside by Dion. Fighting for it is Kasich, trying to dig it out for Gordy Bunnell. Bunnell drops it back to Kasich. It's intercepted by Dion, and he flips it up into the air and over by the Elmira bench, as Elmira now finds themselves once more trailing by 1. Entering in is Brendan Hussey. Enters in with Tracy to his left. Skropoulos setting up shop in the slot. Intercepted by Gavrik. And off to the races go the hat-tricks. Here comes Dearson with Gavrik cutting to the net. Saucer pass is broken up. A great play by Yarwood.
Yeah, you see him just lay out there, get the body in front, and there's just no angle as he just dives out in front, and there's nowhere for Gavrick to put the pass.
And Yarwood's one of the thicker defensemen that you'll see out there. Comes in handy there.
Freeman with a long shot that's elbowed out by Stiliadis. And he'll cover it up with 5:56 to go in regulation time. And
With all the shots that he's seen, somebody's got to get Michael Stiliadis a new pair of pads. The Elmira color scheme of black, white, and whatever color green you want to call
Electric green.
Electric green.
It kind of clashes with the red and blue on Stiliadis' pads. Those are actually the colors of all of Strom's IK, his Division II Swedish team.
Well, it's not the only netminer in this game to have played over in Sweden as well, as Tom McGuckin played over in Avels SK. Entering in on the left side is Tucker. Tucker with a backhand try that's forced wide by Steve Brown. Brown intercepts the passing attempt, tries to get it out of the zone. Taking a whack at it with one hand is Dearson. Patterson holding the line. Now forced past him, and a 2-on-1 if they can corral the puck first, but a good cutoff by Horvath. Now here's Daniel. Fakes a shot, trying to get around Atwell. Atwell with a poke check forces him wide with 5:20 to go in the period. Here's Freeman spinning away from a check from Stevens. Bronner lifts it up out into the neutral zone. Yarwood gloves it down, gets it over to his right to Dion. Tucker turns around at the red line, cuts on the right wing, trying to get past Atwell. He does. Has a man setting up in front in Yarwood. He's doing battle with Thomas Freeman. Still holding behind the end line. Tucker sends it out to Yarwood at the midboards. Clark setting up between the hash marks, calling for it. He gets it finally at the circle. Now back to the point. Here's Dion. Pitch and catch. Clark holds. Yarwood playing the cycle game in the corner. Skinner setting up at the near side circle if they can get it out to him for a one-timer. He has a right-handed shot. He's calling for it. Clark winds and fires it well wide, and it goes past Skinner. A curious shot choice there from the boards, winding it up like that.
Not sure what he's trying to accomplish, because when he misses a puck like that, he clears the zone for the hat tricks.
They'll enter right back in, though, as here's Skinner with a try that goes well wide. And that one will roulette style out of the zone. And now Phil Bronner will dump it in with 4:15 to go in regulation time. The clock, the enemy of the Elmira Enforcers, as they try to knot up the score once more. Here's Hussey across his own blue line, red line. Met at the blue line by Vlad Gavrick, and he forces the Enforcers back towards their own zone. They'll have to go the full 200 feet if they want to find the back of the net.
And he's had 2 good takeaways over his last 2 shifts, Vlad Gavrick has. He's just sitting down and matching the skating speed of the Elmira Enforcers. He's going backwards, so he's getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Active stick, 2 turnovers he's forced.
Brown boxes out Skinner with a good job by the big body of Steve Brown. Throwing a check of support is Marty Tuma as he goes into the corner with Hussey. Still trying to keep the feet moving. Puck squibs out of the scrum. Here's Tuma swinging at it, gets it along the boards. Bunnell has Kasich on the right wing if they can find him. Bunnell will dump it in deep, and Kasich will think better of it and go off for a change after an extended shift. 3:20 to go in regulation time. Here's Skropolis crossing the red line, has Tracy to his right. Trying to get past Anderson, he does, but Atwell is able to provide support. And now the other way, here come the hat tricks, 3-on-3. Anderson loops it around for Mealy. Does battle behind the net with Patterson. Patterson had his stick up in his midsection, trying to nurse a call. No such luck. Skropolis dumps it in deep.
Guys, I'm noticing Freeman and Atwell out here for the Danbury defense. You usually don't see those two together. Head coach Billy McCreary keeping Steve Brown and Marty Tuma fresh for the final shift of regulation.
Daniel evades a check, trying to get it in deep, but Freeman cuts off the puck. You are right, Zach. They've been spending a lot of time together. That shot's fought off by Nieder. The rebound try is steered out to the corner. Shinkarik got a stick on it. 2:30 to go in the period. Long shot from the point. That goes high and wide. Dearson the first to get there. Horvath trying to pinch it in, but he's unable to do so. Dearson forces it back out to the Elmira zone. It's all Elmira here in the final few minutes, trying to break the dam of Nick Nieder. Here's Dion. Up the right wing as Shinkarik behind him, dumps it in deep. We'll keep an eye on Stiliadis for when he maneuvers over towards the Elmira bench. Throwing a check is Bronner trying to get the puck away from Daniel. That one pops up into the air and heads back towards the Elmira zone. 2-minute warning is finally here as Stiliadis still in his cage. Levesque gets the puck out to the neutral zone. The Hat-Tricks playing very conservatively, only sending in one forechecker.
Very, very conservatively, but that hustle by Nick Levesque is what canceled out that last icing.
Now here's Anderson once more entering in with Bunnell. He'll dump it in deep, goes into the corner. 1:40 to go in regulation time. Here's Michaelis at the midboards. Sends it out towards the right wing, but unable to connect with Skinner. Gavrick turns around and sends it in deep. This one will say it was redirected, and it will be no icing. Final 90 seconds of the period. Here's Clark fielding at his own blue line. Now making his way over towards the bench. Slowly is Stiliadis, but he's not there yet. Stiliadis is forced back into his cage as the puck pops out to the neutral zone. 1:15 to go. Dion holds in the neutral zone. Now Stiliadis is heading towards the bench, and he will make his way there. That shot is swallowed up by Nick Nieder, and he holds as the Elmira net is empty, and with the offensive zone faceoff, it will likely remain that way.
Yeah, and Dion, that's a good shot right there because it catches Nieder in an awkward position. He has to kind of reach up his glove up to his chest area and have to make that save, and he does a really good job of not letting the rebound come off of his chest.
That's a good point, Jack, because like you said, it's an awkward place for him to try and hold on to that. It's kind of up at his left shoulder, a little bit below in the sternum maybe. It's a difficult shot for Nieder to deal with. The 37-year-old veteran makes the save, and now you see things are going to get big here in Danbury. 1:05 remaining. Section 102 certainly making things as difficult as possible for the Elmira Enforcers down to the lower right of your screens at home. But let's see who the Enforcers put out there. Let's see how Danbury responds. I foresee a lot of dump and chase here for the Danbury Hat-Tricks. They'll just want to try and keep this puck out of their zone.
Well, the net is empty, so we'll see if anyone takes a shot towards the empty cage. It will be Shinkarik, Levesque, and Bronner out on the forward line with Brown and Atwell reunited on the top pair. Skinner, Michaelis, Dion, Clark, Yarwood, and Patterson are the six-man unit for the Elmira Enforcers as they try to even up the score in the final minute of play. Faceoff is immediately sent towards the blue paint. Niedert will pounce on it and will do it again. Final minute 3 to go in regulation time. The Elmira Enforcers trying to get into the double digits of regulation wins, although it would take 2 goals. They have themselves 11 on the season, 2 coming in overtime, trying to force it into that extra time. The Hat-Tricks trying to make it 13 of 14 if they're able to hang on. Final minute of play. Here's Skinner fighting for it. Bronner takes a swing, trying to get it past Dion. Dion holds. Dion's with a shot with Nieder steers aside. Patterson fields, gets it out to Yarwood at the point. 45 seconds to go. Yarwood down low, gets it over to Clark. Clark out to Patterson at the midboards, has Yarwood in the high slot. Gets it instead down low to Clark. Dion lurking at the near side circle. Out to the high slot. Yarwood, his shot swallowed up by Nieder, and he holds with 33.5 to go.
Wow, what a great save for Nick Nieder. Comes up to the high part of that blue paint and just through the traffic sucks it in off the shot from Yarwood. It wasn't a blast. He looked like he was probably trying to get a deflection there at the speed of that shot. But Nieder able to just find it through the branches.
A deflection, or quite frankly, Jack, like you said, all that traffic in front, just have it pinball around a bit. There's a lot of sticks, a lot of legs in the way. Great job by Nieder to track it down.
Dion out with Skinner. Skinner with a shot through traffic. That one getting a piece of it was Nieder, and it went off the side of the net. And I believe they will say that it deflected out of play.
It did deflect out of play. Must have gone off of a Danbury stick as the faceoff's going to remain in the hat-trick zone. 26.4 remaining. And boy, gentlemen, you can feel the tension here in the arena right now.
It will be Gavrick in the faceoff dot. Naturally a winger, but he will be taking the faceoff with Bunnell and Anderson and Tuma to his left, Aaron Atwell to his right. Michaelis will take the draw with Skinner to his left, Patterson between the hash marks. Faceoff won by Elmira, shot by Dion, fought off by Nieder. 20 seconds to go. Skinner cycles it down low for Patterson. Clark also behind the end line. Bouncing puck, trying to swing at it is Patterson. Skinner at the midboards. 12 seconds to go. Throwing a check as Gavrick, getting the puck up into the air and over the blue line. 5 seconds to go. They're on their feet at Danbury Arena. Bunnell will hold, turns and sends it down the length of the ice. That will do it. The first win of 2019-20 belongs to Nick Nieder. The 37-year-old netminder turns aside 30 shots. And he earns his first victory in a Hat-Tricks uniform.
Well deserved for Nieder. You see him getting mobbed by his teammates in front of a net. And you know, his teammates, they certainly didn't make it easy at times. That last minute, especially Dion from the point, the shots kept coming, and Nieder standing tall, keeps them out and leads Danbury to their 13th victory in 14 attempts, and they continue to hold on to first place in the Eastern Division.
What a game it was for the Danbury Hat-Tricks as Nicola Levesque is pushing Nick Niedert towards the barrel. Nick Niedert will get to hoist the barrel with Litchfield Distillery to celebrate the spirit of hard work in recognition of their veteran netminder and the Danbury fan favorite. What a moment for number 39.
Yeah, he earned it tonight. Every one of his saves were sharp. He had such a layoff, really, for his season. Just kind of sitting on the bench, taking everything in through those 11 straight wins, and gets his chance here. McGuckin playing back-to-back games, and the opportunity here on a Saturday night back at home to come out and get his first victory in white and orange tonight instead of the black and orange. Well-deserved for Nick Niedert, who fought through a really good game in this one. It wasn't the high-scoring, explosive, goal-filled game that we're used to between Elmira and the Hat-Tricks, but an impressive victory for Danbury in this one and for the Danbury legend.
And Jackie, you mentioned, backing up McGuckin. At the beginning of that 11-game winning streak, Nick Niedert wasn't even finding himself dressed. We had,
Dylan Kelly.
Yeah, Dylan Kelly was still here. He is on loan to the SPHL as well. McGuckin was backing up. Nick Niedert was gracious enough to come up here and do a game with us. And, it's so good to see for Nick Niedert, everything that he's had to go through in his life, in his career. Good for him getting the victory tonight.
Corey Anderson honored with the first star of the game. The second star belongs to Casper Dearson. And we'll see who gets the call, whether or not it is Nick Niedert or the man with the game-winning goal, Carter Shinkarik.
And tonight's first star from the Hat-Tricks, number 39.
There it is, Nick Niedert, the first star of the game. Niedert, 30 saves on 32 shots. His first victory in a Danbury Hat-Tricks uniform. Not a first victory in the city of Danbury, though.
Certainly not.
Former Whaler, former Titan, a fan favorite, a minor league hockey legend, is able to send us off in 2019 in style.
And what a way to finish the year. We keep talking about the winning streak, and, well, how can we not? But for Nick Niedert, that's a great way to finish things up. That's gonna recharge him. That's gonna revitalize him. Because as good as the Hat-Tricks have been so far, we're not even halfway through the season yet. There's still a lot of hockey to be played in 2020.
And still 19 home games to go too as well. I mean, there's so much potential with this team, and that's another one of those victories where you say it wasn't pretty, it wasn't a characteristic victory for Danbury, but they got it done. They were backs against the wall the whole final 2 minutes of that game. As soon as the netminder to the bench, they were fighting the defensive end to try to push that puck out of the zone. They finally did it. They held on. They bent, they never broke.
The Elmira enforcers threw everything but the kitchen sink in that final 5 minutes, too. They held possession the entire way, and the Danbury Hat-Trick, you said it, bend, don't break, because what a job by the Danbury defense. They've been nicked up. They've been bruised. They've had guys coming in and out, but those final few shifts in particular by the core four defensemen out on that squad, Atwell, Brown, Freeman, and Tuma, what can you say about these guys protecting their netminder?
Well, especially Thomas Freeman. I mean, this is someone who wasn't relied on like that, but the Hat-Tricks, they've really adopted a next man up mentality, and that's what you need at this level, especially when you lose guys to injury, to suspension, to promotions. Good job by Thomas Freeman, but then it's the three veterans, Atwell, Brown, and Tuma. They know what they need to do back there. They took care of business tonight. Aaron Atwell even coming back from what looked to be a scary situation.
Yeah.
He didn't even miss a shift.
Well, that'll do it here from Danbury Arena as the Danbury Hat-Tricks add a bit of cushioning to their first place lead in the Eastern Division with their 13th win in their last 14 games. And it's official, guys, we are back on a new winning streak. 2 in a row. It is still technically a streak.
That's a streak.
It is.
The Danbury Hat-Tricks are done here in Danbury Arena for 2019. They will be back on Thursday, January 9th to take on the Watertown Wolves. That game will be featured right here on the Hat-Tricks YouTube channel. And from all of us here at the broadcast booth, for my partner Zach McGinnis and Jack O'Mara, I'm Casey Bryant saying we wish everyone nothing but good cheer and good health in this holiday season and for the entirety of 2020. We're very appreciative for all of our viewers and for everyone who makes a Danbury Hat Trick game possible here at Danbury Arena. So from the bottom of our hearts, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2020.